We all got a little nervous. You might notice that we're missing a few players. Just like last week, we're going to start the session really smoothly on this stream. So hi, welcome to Girls Run These Worlds. I'm Ella Watts, my pronouns are she, her. I am going to be your GM. This evening, I'm going to be playing The River as we play Upriver Downriver. Upriver Downriver is a game that I wrote. It's published by MacGuffin and Company. It's very pretty. You can actually win a copy of a PDF copy of the game by entering the giveaway in the chat today. If you just stick in a command, I know technology, then you can enter that giveaway. I am sure that our lovely mods will help me out with that.
You'll have to type me for it, I'm sorry.
In terms of general content and themes, this is a high fantasy game about people sailing on a magical river. In terms of themes, it deals with, like, I generally say, think of like Princess Mononoke or Lord of the Rings, in terms of it's a fantasy world with gods in it, but also things like war and discrimination and environmental destruction. Speaking of which, we've got some trigger warnings in addition to what I just said. This game contains themes of death and grief, as well again as war and fantasy discrimination. We are going to make every effort to address these themes with compassion and respect, but please be kind to yourself and only watch if you feel able. There might be some violence in this game, it won't be gory, but it could be lethal, so that's kind of roughly where we're going to be at. Alrighty, so I've talked enough. I want you to hear from my beautiful, wonderful cast. So players, I would love it if you could please introduce yourselves. I'm going to give you a list of things to do, and you're all magically going to do it. It's going to be great.
Definitely didn't write them down before the stream started.
I definitely don't have a sticky note right there.
Don't draw back the curtain, y'all. We don't need to see the wizard. This is the magic of streaming. Again,
I
like
am
said.
the wizard.
I totally don't have post-it notes on my screen with people's characters' names on it. That is not happening.
It's fine. So, I would love it if you could all please tell me your real name and pronouns, your character's name and pronouns, their role, their path, their origin, and a fun fact about you and either boats or water. Starting with Zania.
Hi. So, as you know, my name's Zaina Fernandez. How's it going? My pronouns are they, them. I'm playing Captain Faye Half Moon. Her pronouns are she, they. She's, of course, the captain, half of the sun, and she's a river folk. And I should have thought of a fun fact before I got here, but my I think a cool fun fact is, oh, this is water related. Do you guys know about the sheephead fish, the red ones with black heads? Oh, they're crazy. Okay, so my fun fact there is like. It's so weird. Basically, they're kind of like clownfish, so they could just shift their gender on a dime. And basically, whoever has the biggest mouth gets to be like the alpha female. So, like, she'll automatically just flip her gender, and then bam, that's it. It's so
mouth,
cool.
Big mouth.
Man, I would
you.
thrive in this environment.
Thank you. And on that bombshell, Amber.
Hello. I am Alpha Fish Amber. Hi. My name is Amber. My pronouns are they, them. My character name is Chirai. Their pronouns are also they, them. They are a first mate following the Wheel of Fortune path, and they are an elf. A sort of boat/water related fact. So my uncle is in the Navy and has actually fought pirates. Has got an MBE for fighting pirates in Somalia, which is intense.
That is wild. I always enjoy hearing facts about your very wild family.
Yeah. What?
The expression really says it all. Last but not least, Shahiq, please introduce yourself.
I didn't. Okay. Hi, I'm Sharik, and my pronouns are she, her, and my character is Aldred Sprigmore. I think. And her pronouns are also she, her. She is a halfling, and she's our doctor of death. And a fun fact about water, definitely not stalling so I can think of something, is I'm really thirsty right now. Haha.
Do you know what? That works, and I really respect the Boxy. Okay, so for people watching at home, you might notice that we are 2 players down. This is unfortunately because wonderful Lily
on the way.
Casey were unable to attend this week. They will be back next week. Touch wood, pending any disasters, but like they will be back. They are just, briefly taking a little sojourn. So I'm going to give us a little bit of a recap from episode 1, and then we're going to get into the game itself. So last episode, we started our journey on the river. The crew, this wonderful crew of the Prestige, have sworn an oath to reach the source of the river. The source of the river is underground, and it is a magical, mysterious location that no one has ever sailed to and returned from. The general belief is that it is either impossible to reach or fatal, but for some reason this crew have decided it's a great holiday destination. They've all got really good reasons for it, but
Allegedly.
the strangers on the river might not agree. They started their journey by going to the valleys, which is where the various halfling townships are. Now, following a war with the human empire, the halfling townships are very hostile to outsiders, and often with good reason, given that one of the halfling settlements recently was completely destroyed by human soldiers, despite the fact that the war is nominally over. Our crew met the halflings, and due to their deeply mixed cultural ship, they were able to kind of talk their way into being allowed into essentially the capital city of the halfling settlements, Harton.
You're putting that very kindly, I think.
On the most important day of the year for all of the halfling settlements in the valleys, which is Bravery Day at Courage Falls. It's a big kind of sign of their relationship with the face of the river that they're attached to, which is strength. And it's basically a proof of kind of strength and courage, a bunch of different challenges. Our team competed to prove their strength both as individuals and as a group, and did exceptionally well, especially our two halflings, Aldred and Seela, as well as our wonderful riverfolk captain, Faye. Everyone smashed it. They won the day, they got a special prize, and they also got a piece of the map to the crystal nets. They need 4 of those to definitely survive going to the crystal nets. They need at least 1 to not die. And who knows what their chances of survival are now. I would say 25%. How are those odds, Tarai?
Good odds. That's fine, I'd bet on that.
So, they won lots of things that all went very well. Now, in terms of where people are, Seela, who's one of our halfling crewmates, this was a really big deal for her. She grew up in an unusual halfling settlement that had separated from most of the others because it was protesting the traditional halfling values of kind of like military strength and training and weaponsmithing and that kind of thing. And Seela had always loved that, and so she was exiled from her village for pursuing that. After proving herself at Bravery Day and finally being able to openly compete instead of like sneak into the back of the crowd, Seela had a real kind of moment of self-revelation and decided to stay for a few days longer with the halfling settlements and go back to her village and see if she could reconnect with her family or if anything would have changed. Now, an important note on that is that Seela is away from the ship, but our crew have sworn an oath. If you know anything about Upriver Downriver, you know that the oath that you swear when you travel to either the source or the sea is magically binding. If you are away from your ship for more than 72 hours, you instantly drown wherever you are. If Seela doesn't get back in time, she dies. Now, that's not the end of the world. She'll play as a ghost of herself, but it is a problem. What we have decided, what we've agreed with Lily, is that when she comes back to our stream, we're going to flip a coin. And one side, she's alive. One side, she isn't. She might return to us as a ghost. With Katie and Jove, Katie's character Jove was given a leg brace by a very old halfling at Bravery Day. And the old halfling said, this leg brace will help you, but it's not a permanent solution because Jove has a very wounded leg, a permanent injury. Basically what it means is that mechanically in the game, Jove can ignore the effects of his scar once a day, which would mean that he can't run easily or walk easily, etc. However, disabilities are real, and a lot of disability aids, whilst useful, can sometimes be uncomfortable or painful to use for prolonged periods. So in this particular case, Jove experimented with the leg brace and has now had to lie bedridden with pain whilst he recovers from experimenting with the leg brace. It is probably not something he is going to use most of the time. It's much preferable to him to just use a cane, but he has it as an option if he very badly needs to in life-threatening circumstances. Okay, so that kind of summarizes where our missing players are, what happened. We're nearly at the end of my recap. It's been going for so long. But the last things that happen in every session of Upriver Downriver are that members of the crew were given the option to commune with the river, and then we rolled to navigate to a new location. Now, communing with the river in Upriver Downriver means that the GM draws a card from the Major Arcana for you. If it's upright, you get a blessing, which is a permanent boost to your character in some way. And if it's reversed, then you get a curse, which is a lesson that the river wants to teach you. Outside of that, I always encourage players to think about how their character communes with the river. Some people like choose for their character that it's like a very kind of religious thing with like a specific prayer or ritual or clothes. Other people think of it as very informal, like cooking or humming to themselves or swimming naked in the river. It's really kind of whatever you feel makes sense for your character. At the end of last session, we weren't able to take the time to see these communions, so I would like to see them now. Two of our players communed with the river, Shahik and Zania. So, starting with Shahik, how does Aldred commune with the river?
I think she probably takes the time to write in her journal of sort of a captain's log, except not a captain at all, just a shipmate or just life. She documents things a lot, and so she takes the time to recap the day, and I think she will also then... Never mind, she just journals about everything that happened and then just sits with it for a moment thinking about it, and I think it's just as simple as that.
So whilst Aldred is writing in her journal, there's a moment where like the candle flame next to her on her desk flickers. And when the candle flame flickers, there's a moment where she sees in the flame a mask, and on that mask is a ship's wheel, and that ship's wheel is spinning like a roulette wheel, like a gambling wheel. And it spins and spins and spins, and then clicks somewhere, and for a moment the candle flame grows a little bit bigger, and then it dies down. And Aldred gets the blessing of the Wheel of Fortune, which will allow her to reverse one death once. However, because she is a doctor following the path of death,
Fuck all that's gonna do.
if she does this, then she loses her path, which means that she loses all of her stat boosts, all of her abilities to do with being a Doctor of Death, until or unless she is able to soothe the temper of the River God or follow a different path. But
That's gotta
yeah, for now she's got it in her back pocket, but it's very much a last resort. Zania, how does Faye commune with the river?
So, with her, I think, like, as much of a showman as she is, I think first off she would get Turai to like clear off the deck. Like, no, everybody go downstairs. This is my time. Like, get out. But the way I imagine it is kind of like almost an old school way, where she's on the deck. She's got like, let's just say like a bucket of dirt, and you're sitting there like, why do you got a bucket of dirt? But she makes like this big dirt ring in the center, and all she does is she goes in the middle and she starts to dance. So it's kind of like a little merging of the land and the sea and the river.
I love that. I think that's beautiful. And I think as she's dancing, she notices, and it's always out of the corner of her eye, it's a little bit like, have you ever seen a moonbow? That kind of just like iridescent, almost like feels like a flare in your vision kind of thing. Just out of the corner of her eye, that she has a dance partner. Her dance partner is tall and strong and muscular. A woman with these like strong biceps, seems to be like 6'3", 6'4" easy, and like dances with strength and with weight, and with this like fierce pride. And at first, it's good, it's fun. Like, she feels like they're on the same rhythm, they're in harmony. But then, the more Faye dances, and specifically, the more pride she takes in herself, and the less she thinks about where she is, the more they kind of fall out of step. Until there's a moment where Faye does a little flourish and stands on the toes of this dance partner, and you actually feel like you've stood on someone's toes. Like, this whole time it's essentially been like a kind of ghost or illusion, but this time you actually feel the foot you stand on. And when you do, you feel this, it's almost like a violin bow going wrong on a violin. Like this is just this screech. And it ripples down your spine. And then whatever it was is gone. And you look around the river, and the river is still and dark. And suddenly the night seems a lot darker and more foreboding than it did before. And you have the Curse of Strength. The Curse of Strength will halve all of your attack damage until or unless you surrender when you could choose to fight. So, after these communions, our brave sailors decided to navigate onwards up the river towards the source. And they are now sailing on the Glass Road, the longest, widest stretch of the river, and up and down that river is a moving city. That moving city is known as the Floating Gardens, home and harbour of the pirate queen, the Minnow, an infamous woman, certainly, on this stretch of river. Our players decided to go to the Floating Gardens, and Xania did a roll for the crew as Captain Faye Halfmoon, and with the crew's collected river sense, successfully achieved what they needed to get there. Which means that where we pick up now, you left the winding river of the valleys. Now, in the valleys, as I said before, the river is strange. It's transitioning between the Arge and the Our. The Our is the river of the southern, the southern settlements. It's golden, it's bright, it gleams in the sun, it reflects the fields and the wheat and the meadows. But in the north, we get the Arge, the silvery part of the river, and we get the Glass Road, which is not named for the material, but for an old Kiwi word for the colour. Glass, G-L-A-S, means a colour that is as grey as the stone, as blue as the sky, and as green as the grass, all at the same time. And that is very much the colour of the Glass Road. You sail up onto the Glass Road, and as you do, the narrow kind of river that you've been following between the broad, lovely green shoulders of the hills of the valleys expands outwards and outwards and outwards and outwards until you are on an impossibly wide river. At points, this river goes between 4 and even 7 miles wide. There are times when it's hard to know whether it's a lake or a river. And there are dozens and dozens of ships of all varying sizes coming up and down these waters. There are merchants, there are traders, there are even a couple of human imperial ships moving backwards and forwards. Now they're mostly leaving you alone. This is the north of the river. This is the Glass Road. On the Glass, there is an uneasy peace between the Imperial Empire and everyone else. But, you know, they keep to themselves and everyone else avoids them. You, however, during the day that you sail up to try and find the Floating Gardens, just tiny little rowboats come up to you, and they've got like sizzling stands of like river pearls on board, which are these huge flour dumplings stuffed with like salted marinated fish. And they're kind of like offering them up to you where they are like lower in the water and being like, 2 silver, 2 silver, if you want a river dumpling, 2 silver, 2 silver for a river pearl. There's other people who are offering you kind of like hot teas that seem to be kind of salty and mixed in with like fermented rice. There are other people who are selling souvenirs, like welcome to the Glass Road, welcome to the Glass Road, the path of the world, Glass Road, path of the world, who are selling souvenirs for you. There are all sorts of like fishing nets, best quality fishing nets you'll get on the glass over here. And other people you can see just at work. You see people hauling in fish. You see people loading up barrels of rice onto their ships. You see people loading up crates of silver even onto their ships, with various guards around them. And on either side of the river, as far as you can see, there are just plains, grass plains. And it means that the water, this green, grey, blue water, blurs into the grass plains, which are green and grey and blue, which blurs into the sky, which is green and grey and blue with the clouds, until you really can't tell where it all ends and where it begins, and you feel as if you are moving through infinity. And you understand why the Glass Road is associated with the face of the world. But you are not here for the glass. So you sail past the great city of Zagazni Kotkan, which is a massive floating wooden city. You see loads of people moving backwards and forwards. There are buildings that are 4, 5, 6 stories tall, teetering and wobbling over the floating water where it's anchored. You see floating gardens like penned in with like rice kind of growing up out of the streets. You keep moving. The sun starts to set. Purple, pink, rosy fingers creep along the water. They kiss the sides of your ship. They illuminate everything in beautiful glows. And Faye Halfmoon in particular, this bright, colourful riverfolk person, just seems absolutely gilded with light as the sun sets on this massive, beautiful mirror of a river. And Aldred, for just 1 second, you don't feel awful. And then it goes away again and you feel really, really bad again. Just for 1 second.
Wow.
But it returns. Nightfall.
That's how we're starting?
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Night falls, the sunset fades, and in its wake is darkness. And where before this beautiful illusion of this blue-grey landscape, where then this smell of fish and fresh water and silt and wood and all of this sound felt a sort of, immense and overwhelming, but also kind of cocooning and comfortable, and like you were part of a world in which there were people. In the darkness, that endless plain turns into endless dark, and you are lost in deep, deep blackness. And the only thing that happens is occasionally you can hear the creak and groan of other ships moving past you. Occasionally you can glimpse the green and red lanterns of other ships indicating their port and starboard, so you know which side to pass them on as the wind caresses your cheeks. For a long time, you sail in the dark. And if you had failed your role, you might have taken the wrong turn here. You might have gone the wrong way. You might have missed it. But you don't. Somehow, some deep sense, some combination of all of you working together, something in Faye's desire to find the source for what might be more than a frivolous reason, means you just nudge your helm, you nudge that ship's wheel the right way. You pull her in the direction that she needs to go, and after she resists you for a moment, she leans into your touch, and you pull her in the direction you want to go. And finally, at long last, you come upon the floating gardens. It is a riot of pink and red and gold and orange. There are paper lanterns strung all about this floating raft city that is absolutely, impossibly overflowing with life. Bushes of roses and lilies and carnations and all sorts of flowers are just spilling into the water, like trailing over in explosions of light and scent, like fireworks attached to the water. And you can hear the singing from here. Over a mile away, you can hear people shouting and yelling and drunkenly singing their evening away. Everyone is having a good time. You can hear the clatter of steel. You can see people fighting. There's a random explosion. You don't know what that was, but you can smell the gunpowder in the air. You can taste it on your tongue. It's still hot. And eventually, you come closer to this riot of noise and light and color. And someone fires a cannon at you. Which is really starting to become a pretty classic part of your lives, I feel.
Not again.
We just painted the hull!
We just got new steel on the hull!
Was it the flames on the side? I knew we shouldn't have gotten the flames on the side.
It's just Tarai standing at the front of the ship going, "Hey! Watch it!
You tell him first, mate!
I'm sailing here!"
Now, luckily for you all, you recently upgraded your ship's defenses, which means that your ship's defenses are currently at 21. When someone fires at your ship, they have to meet or exceed your defenses in order to do full damage, and if they don't meet or exceed your defenses, then they do half damage. The pirates only got a 16, so they do 8 damage to your ship.
Oh my god!
Which, that's not so bad.
So we're at 48?
Yes.
Is that math? Okay.
That is right. So yeah, like there's just a kind of boom, and downstairs you hear a kind of yelp from Jove, who was just lying in bed, and the whole ship kind of shakes. And there's this wash of water.
Sorry, just turns around. Sorry, Jove. Sorry.
So yeah, what would you like to do apart from? I mean, Tarai, you yelled. If you want to like make that yell mechanical, you can give me a roll.
I get. Does that fall under charm?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Give me a d12. Add your charm. Sorry, add your tongues.
Oh, should I do the path roll? Actually, I realized I didn't do that.
Oh yes, you should. Tarai, because they are following the path of the Wheel of Fortune twice a day now, because they're level 2, gets to roll a d12 and choose to substitute that roll for their own or someone else's during the session.
Yeah. So is it both of them added together, or is it like?
No, it's one each.
One each. Okay. Well, that one's a 12, so that's a good start.
Hey! Finally, that lucky 12.
got there eventually. And that is an 8, so we're good. So we've got a 12 and an 8 to get us through the day.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So a d12 to yell at this cannoneer.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. Can I help? Is there any help actions?
Well, yeah, there is. If you have a relevant skill, you can choose to give someone advantage. Do you have?
I've got Inspire Fear. I don't know.
You know what? I'm not. Before you do this, Shahik, I'm gonna ask
just
you to.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to roll me a d12 and add your spirits and tell me what you get, and then we'll resolve your roll after.
It's a 12.
A 12 total.
Yes. Total.
Okay, cool. So that is an average. No, that's a difficult success. Yeah. So on a difficult success, Aldred considers this and then thinks, if she decides to inspire fear in a city of heavily armed pirates, their response might be to shoot at you more rather than less. So she thinks that, like...
I knew it as I said it.
Oh yeah, you knew.
Still did it anyway.
I'm not saying you can't try, but I am saying that occurs to you as you think about this.
It's like,
never mind. I'm good. I do. Well,
Did you say
I'll
something,
what
Aldred?
I do.
Okay,
Just
Amber.
making my potions. Don't worry.
So yes, so I'm rolling a 12 and I'm adding my tongues.
Yes, please.
And this is an advantage because I'm using my charm.
No, it's not at disadvantage because
Not
you
at
have
disadvantage.
charm. If you didn't have charm, I'd make you roll at disadvantage, which would go worse.
Because I'm yelling. Hard to charm someone when you're yelling at them. I get that.
Yeah, and also pirates aren't generally easily charmed. Like they're not really the kind of people where if you're like super nice to them, they're like, we're gonna stab you less.
Oh
Well, I
no!
guess they haven't met
Oh, hang on.
us.
So it's needing the tongue. Okay, that did not go well. That's an 8 overall.
Ooh, okay. So I will tell you that would fail this check. Would you like to continue, or would you like to use one of your substituted rolls?
Yes, I'll swap it out for the 12. I think let's start strong.
Are you sure you want it? Because I will say.
Oh wait,
that
no,
you,
hang on.
you-
Actually, no,
what's
wait,
your
wait.
tongues?
My tongues are 6. No, sorry. I'll use the 8 because then that's 14.
Yeah, I'd say that will succeed.
right.
Good.
Yeah.
Get
So
that succeed.
with it 16, explain to me what you do.
So it basically just becomes like angry yelling to basically be like I feel like pirates appreciate brashness a little bit, and I'm basically just like, hey, do you want to damage Faye Half Moon's ship?
Yeah, obviously, that's why we're shooting at you.
Oh, okay, right.
Carry on then.
Oh, please,
What
after
do
you.
think a gun is for? I'm sorry. Do you think that we have these here for decoration? We're pirates. Have you not heard? Floating gardens, kind of famous. Pirate City.
Look, hey, is this because of what happened the last time? We explained that, okay? We paid for everything. Everything was fine, okay? I'm sorry
love
that happened.
catfish.
Look, I know, I am really sorry that
Billy
happened,
was
okay?
a good friend to me
Look,
through
look.
a very difficult divorce.
Look, I appreciate that, okay? Look, I appreciate that. Everyone was having a hard day that day, all right? I get it. Look, it was just bad timing. It was a miscommunication. I'm sorry, okay? We thought you said something else. We thought you when you said catfish, we thought you said something else. I am sorry about what happened, okay? I cannot apologize enough for both myself and my captain, but look,
Yeah, you know
that
what,
is
Sarai? I
water
think
under
I've
the
made you
boat.
squirm enough. All
Yeah.
right, Sarai, come on in. And tell
Water
Faye
under
that the queen wants to see her.
Oh.
Everybody's
well.
eyebrows went up.
It's like, oh, me, a little guy. Hello.
Birthday.
I'm just like, oh. All right. Well, thanks.
You continue to sail forwards, and
Hey,
no
could
more
I-
cannons are fired at you.
Could I say, can I say that in the meantime of as we were arriving here, I was making my poisons?
Yes, you can. Of
Yes.
course you can. Would you like to give me those rolls?
I'm quite tired after that now.
while you're rolling, can I say something to Turai real quick?
Yes.
Just like you're catching her up on everything, and she just kind of leans in. And she's like, "Okay, but that catfish was really good. Are we
Look,
really sorry?
I know. Like, I agree. I'm with you. It was real good.
It was
but
really good.
I just
the
think
way
for the
Joe fried it up, like,
oh man, oh, it was so good.
Oh,
It was
of
just
my
crumbly and
dreams.
just picked apart. Oh, it was amazing. Oh, it was
so
just.
good.
But I think for the sake of not having cannons fired at us, which I'd argue is something we want, I think we should maybe not talk about how good that catfish tasted.
Fair enough.
Tried really
Tears or no
hard.
tears? On or off? What are we
I think
doing?
tears might be a bit much, just a bit much too much.
Right.
But I mean, the catfish was so good; it did bring me to tears. I think a little
Oh,
bit.
so
But it was
good.
so tasty. But yeah, I think just if anyone brings up the catfish, I think we just
Yes.
not say anything.
This is
Just
a good plan.
kind of
This
go.
is a very good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Just like,
so hard
oh,
that
catfish.
you can't
Oh,
avoid
I'm
it,
so
then
sorry.
you
Oh.
can-
Oh, it was a terrible
Go
thing
for
that
it.
happened. It was a
Mhm.
terrible thing. Terrible. Should we mention this to Aldred? Yeah, we should probably mention this. We should probably.
We
catch
probably
Aldred
should.
about this.
We probably
Yeah.
should. Yes.
Just don't explain. Just say don't mention catfish.
And when Tarai says, should we mention this to Aldred, in the movie of this, we cut away to a different scene where Aldred is fully like bent over a desk full of like vials which have skulls on them and like evil like smoke and like just green things, and just like we notice that like a little bit of the wood of the ship fully just like dissolves away like in the acid burn, and like Aldred like yes is bent over making poisons. Now the way to make poisons, Sharik, I know you know, but I'm going to explain for people, is you roll with your spirits, and then the poison will deal
What do
one
I
harm
roll?
for each. You roll a d12 plus your spirit stat. And then the poison will deal one harm for each level of success rolled. So an easy success is 8. I know my game. I think it might be 10. Anyway,
I believe in
a
you. I
difficult-
believe.
a difficult. No, it is this way because wait. I hate maths. A legendary
I have
success
the
is
book
16. A legendary success is 16. A very difficult success is 14. A difficult success is 12. An average success is 10, and an easy success is 8. So going like you can go up like all of those steps. So an 8 would just do 1 harm, 10 would do 2 harm, 12 would do 3 harm, 14 would do 4 harm, and 16 would do 5 harm. However, if there's a specific effect that you want your poison to have, like putting someone to sleep or making them dizzy or something like that, then you can pitch to me what you want to make, and then I can tell you how difficult it will be to like get something. Generally speaking, if you want something that lasts a long time, it's going to be harder to make, and if you want something that has a very brief effect, it'll be easier.
Okay. Well, I would for one of them. I would just like to make something that I just throw and it explodes. I guess. Oh well, let me roll. 18.
Whoa,
Whoa,
18!
hey.
Yes,
That's
okay,
really
cool.
good.
That's amazing. So, I'm gonna say, was that, what was that on the die?
11.
11, okay, cool. So I think that I'm gonna say for such a high success, yes, you make essentially a grenade, and I'm gonna say that what that grenade does, instead of 5 points of harm, is 5d4 of damage. However, the drawback to that is you will risk friendly fire if you do it anywhere near your friends. Like you can't control where a grenade explodes. So that's kind of the give and take. You do make a grenade, it will do 5d4 of damage. However, but that damage will A, ignore people's armor because it's a grenade, and B, it will hurt your friends if you throw it near them.
I would I will just do 2 for now, but I would also like to make one that, I guess, whichever one you think is more realistic or like easier to get on a roll, I guess. Either just put somebody to sleep for a short like minute or something, or disable all of their senses, like except for smell. I guess they can smell. It's fine.
So I think senses is gonna be much harder.
Like I just mean
especially
see,
because
hear, talk.
yes, yeah. But this is what I mean. Like, so senses will be much harder, and part of the reason for that is give me a spirits roll, just a d12 in your spirits.
6 plus 7. That's a 13.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that's a difficult success. That's good enough. So Aldred lives in a world where, like, Aldred is a scientist, right? But Aldred also lives in a world where magic and gods are very much real and interfere in people's lives. And it's a little bit of a, like, if you live in Greek mythology, maybe don't fuck with Athena's temple kind of situation, where, like, you know that the face of the Empress on the river, face of the Empress and the face of the High Priestess, would both be very angry with you if you tried to create something that had that effect. And so you know that, like, the magic of the river will actively counteract your science, and that if you used it, you could incur the wrath of the god of the river. So you get the sense that, like, you could try to do this, but it will be very, very difficult, and, like, it might be like you versus the god of the river that you're sailing on. Whereas the sleep thing won't incur any of that wrath, and, like, none of the faces will really care, and you can do that pretty easily.
So what do you think? Me versus River God? I've got the good chances, right? Yeah. It's a joke. I'm not going to do that.
Thank you.
I would like to instead make something that will put somebody to sleep, but instead of, like, throwing it or pouring it into something, maybe through smell.
Yeah, cool. I like that. Yeah. Essentially chloroform. Yeah.
Yes, but what is the range on that? Because, like, how do I have to have it right up to somebody's?
I mean, I think what I'm going to say is that, like, 2 things. First of all, it's going to depend on the success of your roll, and second, the greater the range, the more you risk friendly fire. So, like, if you're trying to make something that goes, like, 10 feet away, again, you will risk knocking out not only your friends but also yourself. However, if it's close range, you will have a lot more accuracy, and it will be easier to achieve.
So did the roll I just did with a 13, is that for that, or do I need
No,
to
that
re-roll?
was for figuring out the god of the river and why it would be harder to do one or the other. So now you need to do a new roll.
Got it. Ooh! Question. I can re-roll a test twice per session. What
can
does
use
that
that
mean?
here. You can use that here. So essentially what that refers to is skill checks. So the reason that it's specified as a test is that, for example, you couldn't use it to re-roll damage, and you couldn't use it to re-roll a navigation check, but you can use it for these skill tests. So i.e. when you roll a d12 and you add a stat to do something like make a poison, you can re-roll that.
And what would an 11 give me for this?
11 total?
Yes.
So that would be an average success. So for an average success, I will say that you would make something that would put someone to sleep for 5 minutes, but you have to be 1 to 2 feet away from them for it to work.
Okay. Then I will re-roll.
Alrighty.
And I have to use the second one?
Yes.
Okay. Please be good. Oh, that's worse. It's 10 this time, though. So
I mean, that's still,
voice.
yeah, you're still on the average success, so it's the same thing. So it's 5 minutes, 1 to 2 feet away.
Cool, thank you.
Alrighty. So Aldred is making her poisons as you
The reason why I was saying all that, I think I'm gonna, like, run out as all of that is happening, and they're, like, finishing up the catfish conversation. It's like, what's happening? I was trying to make my poison, as you can see, like, vials with like, is there like a understood like symbol of like a healing potion?
Of a healing potion? Probably something like a wave, to be honest.
Okay, well, you see that, and it's like a vial of like, you would see that and be like, that's a healing potion, I should drink that. But it's this. And, and then if I get any confused, do I get any confused looks? Does anybody figure, like, is there something up to do up here?
What I will say is, Faye and Tarai, give me tongues rolls, please. So d12 plus your tongues.
Alright, give me. What is my
Oh,
tongue?
9.
Oh, my tongue.
Oh, Tarai, you are like, wow, Aldred is such a good doctor. All that Aldred has been doing this whole time is making medicine, and that medicine looks so good and helpful. And like, wow, what a sweet halfling.
As an
That's
elf,
what you think.
as an elf,
yeah.
it is important to look after my health.
If it helps, I got an 11.
Hey, so Faye, I mean, actually, Aldred, give me a d12 plus your tongues.
I wasn't trying to lie. I said I was making my poison.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's fair.
I like how
so, yeah,
Tarai still
I
didn't
mean,
get it.
Yeah, like, with your, like, yeah, Faye, you're like,
It was sarcasm.
like, Aldred is being Aldred and goth and making poison and being very sarcastic, and hey, that could be useful, and also that for sure is not a healing potion.
She just kind of looks at that. She's like, oh, yes. Leans over to Turai. Do not touch that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wait, all of them, or just like the specific
Just
ones?
to be safe. Don't touch it.
Don't touch any of them. All right, got it. Thank you, Captain.
I don't trust.
You moor up at the pirate city, and there is a gang of pirates to meet you. And you notice a couple of things. One is that the center of this pirate city is essentially a giant square or garden, like this huge park. And in the middle of that park, which is full of flowers, is kind of a little kind of dust bowl arena.
Mm-hmm.
And all of you, as you kind of moor up at this jetty, which is on the same level as this kind of arena, notice a fight is happening in the middle of the arena, and there is a crowd kind of shouting and laying bets and cheering and booing and all the rest of it. And in this fight, there are two people. One of these people is a very big human man. He looks to be about, I don't know, 6'5", 6'6", but mainly the reason he's so big is he's kind of very fat and very strong in the way that like strong men are. Like he needs the fat to be that strong, and he's so fucking strong. And he is very, very tall, and he's just kind of moving, and every time he moves, you can almost see the air move with like the strength of this man's movements. He's covered in these dark blue tattoos. He's got a shaven head, big chain. And I think he's probably bare-chested at the moment. He is clearly sweating. He's clearly working very hard. Fighting him, it takes you a minute to even see her. She moves so fast that it's just like flicks of silver light, like something like a dagger getting thrown, like a minnow moving across the water. But eventually you notice this woman. She is a tall elven woman, maybe in her like late 40s, early 50s. She's got long kind of black hair that is threaded through with a little bit of silver, very thick and wavy, kind of kept into a braid but kind of bursting free as she fights. She is wearing a shirt with a popped collar that is pretty much unbuttoned all the way down to her waist, where it's tucked into her like trousers. And you can see her chest kind of sweating as she kind of like jumps from place to place. She has thigh-high boots that are laced up very tightly at the moment, and she is holding two swords. And as she kind of crouches in the grass, you see this moment where she kind of like crouches like a tiger ready to spring. She's got both of her swords ready. She grins this absolutely vicious grin, and then she runs forward and she runs up this man's body and gets her swords on either side of his neck in kind of a scissoring motion. And standing on his shoulders, looking down at this crowd from 8 feet in the air, she cheers and like roars in victory. And the man underneath her just kind of like sighs, grins, laughs. She lets go of him and like somersaults off him back onto the ground, raises one sword high and says, "Who's next for the minnow?"
We're sort of standing at the edge going,
Yeah. Faye's immediately like
God, I wish that were me.
The other thing you all notice as you step off your ship, and there is, oh man, there are food stalls here as well. Mostly people are selling alcohol and alcohol infused food, so it's kind of like rum marinated meat or like that kind of thing, or like cakes that are like full of like rum or whiskey. But they're also just selling straight up drinks. Rice wine is pretty common here, as are a couple of other like various kind of fermented spirits. But you do notice this like beautiful shop. It's on the second floor of this floating city, this wooden shop that has been painted purple and silver, and has this huge, incredible mural of the moon on the side. And the shop says Bell Crane's various antiquities. And underneath the sign that says Bell Crane's various antiquities is like a little sign that says maps of the crystal nets for sale here.
Definitely not a scam.
Just
Why
like,
would it be a scam? Aldred, everyone reaches the crystal net safely, right? But it certainly looks to still be open, that shop. The door is open, there's light coming from inside. And the shop faces, it has this little balcony thing, and it faces where the arena is and where Julie, the minnow, the pirate queen, is fighting. What would you all like to do?
I think we just watch for a while, first of all.
yeah, I think we're all on the same page. Just like,
Yeah, we'll just. Haven't even noticed the shop yet. Haven't even noticed the sign that says Crystal Net Maps.
just holding each other like, oh my god.
Yeah, we're just holding very tightly onto each other. Like, not looking.
The next match is against a halfling. This halfling person, similarly very tattooed, they have a very long braid of hair, and they are fighting with bolas, which are these ropes with heavy weights on them, which they kind of swing and use to like catch people's limbs and kind of like disarm them and stuff like that. It requires a lot of skill, and every single time they move, like there's just this whip through the air. People have to move out of the way. There's a couple times when the bolas nearly hit someone, and this halfling clearly does not care whether it hits one of these drunk pirates. Like, it's like, you get out the way or you get hit, and that's your problem.
I'm gonna cheer for this halfling, like, woo, halfling! Yes!
Like,
Get it!
you notice that there are quite a few other halflings like in this crowd, like various pirates who have turned the kind of famous halfling culture of like weaponsmithing and blacksmithing and armory and martial prowess to piracy because it works pretty well. Like, there's a lot of people in like high boots and big coats and kind of waistcoats and loose shirts, various cutlasses and daggers and rifles and all sorts of like very kind of jammed up weapons. You all think that Sela would probably enjoy some of these like wild contraptions if she were here. But you see this halfling kind of swinging these bolas, and there's a couple times when like they go to try and get like one of Julie's wrists, kind of grab one of the swords, and every single time she moves out of the way, like fast as light. Every time it's just impossible how quickly she moves. And then there's this moment where they stop trying to go like sort of high for them to like her wrist level and go low instead for her ankles. And you have this moment where you think that like one of the bolas is about to catch her, like the weight on the rope wraps around her ankle. You see the rope like in a loop, and then there's no other word for it. She starts to dance. She just laughs and she starts skipping, and every single time one of these bolas, like the rope wraps around her, her foot just slips out of it and skips back down, and she's basically playing jump rope with this weapon as it swings at her, and again and again and again, and she kicks up this little cloud of dust in the center of the arena, laughing, and then she starts like having sort of successfully established a rhythm. She just grins at this halfling and starts to hum a little song, and as she starts to hum this little song, the people around her start to clap, and they clap and they stamp their feet louder and louder and harder until suddenly she whirls around, showing the halfling her back as both of her swords spin in a whirlwind, and she ends with one sword on the middle of their chest and the other down between their feet, and she grins down at them and she says, "I win."
Literally
You
just
do
grabbing Turai, shaking super violently, like I want to beat her ass.
Oh, I think after a while, I just go like, and I turn around and I go, oh, crystal maps. Thanks.
What? Oh, yeah. Oh.
What?
Where
Oh
are
yes,
we?
shopping. Right,
Shopping.
right.
Pirate shopping. Yeah.
Pirate shopping.
Yes, we are professional pirates. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody,
Sailors.
everybody, to attention. Come on, straighten up.
Faye Halfmoon coming up.
But yeah, everyone else. Faye Halfmoon's here.
I'm here.
Get out of the way.
Move.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we're probably going to the shop that
Cool.
has
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think Faye just kind of like takes her arm and just like, okay, we're getting away from that for a little bit.
And as you walk away, you hear like kind of cheering and shouting kind of going on in the middle of this ring as like the fights continue. And you can feel like the wind brushing all over your faces. It's the middle of the night on a big river. It's quite cold. But somehow the warmth of all of the people around here, the fires of the lanterns, the cooking, the sizzling, the taste of the salt in the air, like it keeps you warm. You walk up the stairs into this shop, and as you enter it, there's kind of a little jingle of a bell, this silver bell in the shape of like the phases of the moon kind of dripping down over your head. And as you do, there's a sudden kind of pop of air. This woman appears in front of you. Now, this woman is not a halfling. She is a human woman with dwarfism, which is something that all of you have encountered at some point in your lives. She is a black woman with dark brown skin, and she has kind of afro hair tied back behind this like dusky blue headscarf. She's wearing a tight corset covered in like various kind of clouds, and this long skirt and a lot of belts, which have like various kind of vials and jars and books and things hanging from them. She has dark brown eyes and silver earrings, and she is very, very beautiful. And she smiles at you all and says, "Hello, weary travelers. My name is Belle Crane. Are you here to get a map of the crystal nets?"
Yeah.
Yes, you have more than one.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know if you know, and I'd hate to offend, but it has happened on occasion that merchants on the glass have chosen to take advantage of certain travelers by selling counterfeits of this map. Of course, the map
Yeah.
itself famously disappeared from the face of the river with the Kiwi. And we all know that the only real map, the only one that will actually see you safely through the nets, is a Kiwi map. So I keep a collection in the hopes that one of these one day will prove to be real. And as she says that, she steps back and gestures to a shelf, and it's kind of like a rack full of vinyl records, except that it's a rack full of pieces of parchment. And these pieces of parchment are kind of like glowing iridescently with like pink and purple and silver light. Some of them are emitting brighter glows than the others. Some seem to be made of quartz or slate or like other kinds of rocks. Some seem to be made of ice, maybe. There's just like stacks and stacks of them. And this woman, Belle, she looks at you all, and her dark brown eyes catch the light of her shop. And as they do, you see this kind of crescent moon of light just flash in her eyes for a moment. She smiles at you, her cheek dimples, and she says, "All you have to do is pick the right one."
So sorry. So let me just double check that I've got this correct. When you said you sell maps of the crystal nets, what you actually meant to say was, "I have a crystal net lucky dip."
She
Not
like
quite the same thing. Ms. Frey.
she laughs so hard, like genuinely she tips her head back and laughs. And it is a glorious sight, honestly. And then she just like she kind of gently, kind of with the back of her hand, kind of taps Tarai in the middle of the chest and says, "Oh, you follow the path of the wheel of fortune. I'd have thought you'd like some luck."
I never said I wasn't in. I just wanted to make sure I understood what you were saying.
I've got an idea. Sorry.
Oh, you want to huddle?
Pardon?
You want to huddle? Hold on,
Oh,
okay,
go,
right,
go,
we're
go
back.
ahead.
We're
Don't
back.
worry.
We're
I
back.
won't
We're back.
listen. I'm
Thank you.
paying no
Appreciate it.
attention.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry. Yes.
Scoops
Thank
towards the
you.
door.
Thank you. We'll be back in a second.
Yeah,
Yes.
Don't go away.
What did you have in mind?
this. And I show the part of the crystal net map that we got in the championship.
Don't flash that around too much.
Yeah.
but
Just
yes.
keep it. Coats.
I'll put. You know what I have. You
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what I have.
yeah,
I'm
Yes,
not gonna show.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
We could just compare it to the ones
Okay.
we've got here.
Okay.
Mm,
So here's the
See
thing.
what it
How do we
matches.
do that without showing it to the shopkeeper?
One person distracts the shopkeeper,
I'm not
Well,
sure that's.
talking as we, browse. We browse.
well,
What? Browsing is normal.
I could. Let me put this out
Right?
there. Let me
Yes.
put this out there.
Yes.
Turai, you know this. I have a way with people. I tend to sway their minds in the right direction. Maybe just forget a few things here and there. I could easily
Yes.
distract while you guys.
Turai and I could say that we're just gonna look at these maps.
Perhaps. Exactly. Perhaps she forgets that she even saw anything at all.
So
I'm not implying. Obviously, we take from her, but what I am saying is she doesn't necessarily have to remember what you compared with.
If I could break kayfabe for just a second. So, in my path on the Wheel of Fortune, I'm not allowed to rig a game of chance.
Oh, that's right.
So would this count as rigging a game of chance? Because
Yes.
I think it would. Yes.
Yeah, it would.
So I think
This is a common practice between us two.
yeah. I think Tarai is just gonna be like, okay, here's the thing.
Yes,
Those are
yes.
all good. Those are both good ideas, but I don't think it's
It was the
worth.
same idea twice said, but yes.
Okay, well, I didn't want to say that, but okay, thank you.
Okay, but the way I said it was better, right?
I mean,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
look, I'm
Yes,
not going
thank
to
you,
pick
thank you.
favorites.
That is
Okay,
originally my
I'm
idea.
going to be an impartial judge here. That's not what we're here to talk about.
Yes.
I think that it's too risky to show the crystal nets, to show the piece of the map that we have. We are in a very dangerous place, and I think if
Exactly.
word gets out that we have a piece of the crystal net map,
Which stop saying it out loud.
okay, I'm sorry. I said it
Right.
right. That's
What
I
I'd like all three of you to do is give me 2 rolls. The first one is a d12 plus your tongues, and if any of you
Oh.
have deception, you can add that, and if any of you have stealth, you can add that, and in this case, what that means is you get +1. Then I want you to do another roll, but first of all, tell me what you get on these.
So that was I got a 12 plus a 4, so you know.
Nice. Okay.
16.
I got
Can
17.
Re-roll on this?
Nice. Well, good lord, Try.
May I re-roll on this?
Yes. Would that be your second reroll of the day?
Yes.
Okay.
That
you
bad?
can, but you won't be able to reroll again. What I will say is that I don't want you to feel cheated of that. With Azania and Amber's very high successes, even if Aldrin failed, like it'll level out as a success. So you don't need to reroll here if you don't want to. But if you'd like
Well-
to, you can.
Well, I mean, I would have considered that metagaming good, but you're the GM and you said it's fine, so I'm not gonna use it.
Yeah, so like the way that I generally rule like legendary successes, which is anything 16 or higher, is that the characters are not only being subtle themselves, but they are also aware of like how subtle the person they're talking to is. In terms of like, if I was whispering with someone in a building and the person I was talking to was talking really loudly like this, I would probably
and
have
everybody's
the
like,
presence of mind to be like, hey, could you be quiet, please? And the
Yeah.
way that rolls is like that here, which is that like with Xania and Amber's successes, Faye and Taraya being very subtle, and whenever Aldred gets close to like failing that, they are both like,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna like go
Just
like,
one hand over.
Try, you're being silly. If
Hold
you
it, hold it,
have,
hold it. Hold it. This is an order. Shush. Indoor, outdoor voices. Okay.
and I'm gonna say, I'm not even gonna make you do the second roll that I was gonna do before because you both got legendary successes, and that's pretty wild.
High five.
Faye, try first, and then Faye, notice out of the corner of your eye, there's just this kind of movement. There's a kind of fabric curtain near the door of Belle's shop, and you notice like there's a bit of a movement, and then it just catches the light for a moment. It's almost like a person made of glass or made of water. But you, and I think Tarai, like with your 17, you actually notice like a bit of lint or dust or something moving, and you see a footprint as someone who is clearly currently invisible moves away from the doorway. And what I think also happens is, Faye, you feel something. Now, you have two mothers, but one of them disappeared. And what you feel in this moment, it's a strange, lurching kind of like when your ears pop because of altitude. Like just the world around you is changing in a way that has a physical effect on your body. You feel something that you haven't felt since the last time you saw your mother. And then whoever this is disappears.
I mean, that was in the shop.
They were just outside the shop, and when they were noticed, they left. They seemed to be aware that you both noticed that they were there despite their invisibility and left.
And how far away were they?
They were maybe 7 feet.
So we can reasonably assume that they might have heard us.
I know, I will say, with your legendary success, you can safely assume that they did not hear you because you rolled real good, and I'm not going to cheat you on that. But what I am saying is that in addition to your real good roll, you get some extra information, which is that someone presumably was coming to this shop to do what you did and buy a piece of the map to the crystal nets, and then saw you all in here and decided to leave.
I think with
I
that
don't know
feeling.
anything
Since...
about.
Okay.
Yeah, we
I don't
just
know
stopped
anything
talking.
about this.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys stopped talking, but I'm still. But I guess I just assumed that you guys are like paying attention to me. So I'm just like, we should. And I just continue to proposing and trying to convince Sarai, as both of you are clearly. I am not even there right now.
I will say, since we were all basically in a huddle, definitely when that feeling comes, the ear popping feeling, you both notice she just digs her fingers really deep into your shoulders. She doesn't say anything. She just grabs you.
And so Aldred is a stranger to Faye, but Tarai knows Faye really well. So, Zania, it's up to you. Would Tarai know that this means that Faye is quite upset or feeling something very strongly?
Yes.
100%. So I think Tarai's gonna sort of take the hint after noticing that as well, and then sort of go and then just kind of break the huddle a little bit, being like, right, okay, everyone back up. I think the only way we're gonna do this is if we just go for it, okay? How do we feel about that?
You got us a good ship. You got us a good ship with that. Yep.
I got us a good ship.
You got us the prestige. It's wonderful.
I got us the prestige. I got us a lot of money at the halfling. Technically, you
I
guys.
fucked it up just a little bit, but that's okay. I trust you. It's fine.
It's fine. We bet both ways. It's fine. We still won.
We still won. They're just being sore losers about it.
Sorry. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go in there.
I don't agree, but majority rules. So.
Okay. Here's the plan. Go in the shop.
We're in the shop already. Yes.
We're gonna stay in the shop.
you have, okay. I need you to immerse yourself. Just immerse yourself into the plan. This is how he works. He has to backtrack a little bit to come back, but he comes back every time.
I apologize. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I forget
So
where I
yes,
am
we come
sometimes.
into the shop. Yes,
When I get excited.
Yes.
Right. We are in the shop. Now we were outside, but now we're in the shop.
Yes.
And we're gonna get one of these crystal net shards. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know how it works. I don't know if there's a sort of tombola or something that we have to bet on. But
I think when you say that, you notice that Belle, the shopkeeper, actually laughs out loud. She's trying really hard to not, but at that point she actually snickers. And when you look at her, she is somehow
I don't think it's a tombola.
she is somehow even more beautiful than before. She has, she's a very curvy woman, and she's wearing this corset, that kind of presses quite tightly in a heart kind of shaped neckline, and every single inch of her skin is gilded by moonlight, as if she's just been dusted with silver. She has this just beautiful profile, and these long dark eyelashes, these full dark lips that have some kind of lipstick on them, a beautiful dark red. And she just kind of glances at you all out of the corner of her eye, and her mouth kind of tilts up in like half a smile. Are you finished?
Just look at everyone. Yes, I think we're finished. So, are there rules, or is it just a case of we point and say that one?
You pick one once.
Pick one once. Okay, and how much is each? How much is each?
Depends on which one you pick.
Oh wow. Okay, so we're also betting on the price. Amazing.
What?
Oh,
What?
great.
What
Okay.
changes the price? They're all the same.
It's
Yeah,
pirate
yeah,
logic. It's pirate logic.
Rules are the rules. Okay. Look. They don't make up the rules. Okay. Like.
Usually you could at least barter a little bit, but you know.
Look, let's do one thing at a time. Okay.
Okay, so to pick a map to the crystal nets, whoever is picking needs to roll with your spirits. This is essentially a magic test. I'm not making it a magic knack test, but I am making you use your spirits because all of you would need to use spirits to do magic. And you just need to pick one.
Okay.
So who wants to do the roll?
So I've got
I
7 spirits.
Me too. So it's
Huh.
can go with
Toss
three.
up.
Well, the thing is, right?
It
so
was your idea.
It was my idea. Yeah, that's fair
Yeah.
enough. And this is gambling. It's my thing. Um,
You're already
And
like
also-
pitching.
yeah. I'm already like rolling up my sleeve, like ready to go.
Just let me do this.
Like I'm not rolling any dice. And I'm like.
I'm the first mate. I'm the first mate.
I'm the best mate. I'm the first mate. I'm the best mate. I'm the first mate. So
Already massaging your shoulders, like, let's go. You got this. You got this.
Okay, so give me a roll. D12 plus your spirits.
Oh wait, help action? Is that a thing here?
You can help if, yeah, I mean, you've got spirits and magic. Yeah, for sure. I will say that you can give Tarai advantage on this roll.
You wanna give me
Done.
advantage?
But what I would like to know is, like, how is Aldred using magic to help guide Tarai? Like, what are you doing?
Is that rigging a game of chance?
Oh, actually, you know what? You're right. Yeah, taking advantage of this roll. It's gotta be
What
a
if
straight
Tarai
roll.
doesn't know? What if Tarai doesn't know that?
No, Tarai would know.
No. He would know.
Yeah, like,
No.
yeah.
He's so
like,
paranoid. I mean, sorry, they're so paranoid. They'd know.
yeah, I think, like, also for sure, like, the face of the river would tell them. Like, Wheel of Fortune would tell them.
Fortune just turns around like, hey.
Yeah.
Snitch.
All right, so just one roll, Amber.
One roll. So it's plus spirits, right?
Yeah, D12
Yes.
plus spirits.
14.
14. Okay, that is a difficult success. No, it's a very difficult success. Yeah. Okay, so you. Describe to me the process as you like try to pick one. Like, what does it look like? Do you just grab one real quick, or do you take a moment? Do you take any out? Do you look at them?
So I like to think that Tarai's, when it comes to betting, Tarai's like a hunch sort of thing, right? So it's just like, so they sort of stand in front of the. Is it 3 or is it just like a big collection? Like
It's essentially like a wall of like stacks of maps, like you would see at like a record store.
right, okay. So they're just sort of standing. They sort of like plant themselves, kind of get their center of gravity together, and kind of like just sort of do this with their hands. Like, okay.
Just feel it out. You've got this.
Just feel it out. Just feel it out. I got this.
You've
I got
got
this. Shush. I got this. Let me do my thing. Okay, right. Okay, here we go. Right, we got this. Okay, I'll let you do your thing. I'll do my thing. Okay. I'm gonna okay. I'm gonna pick that one and just drawn to it's sort of quite central, but it's not like bang in the middle because that's kind of the obvious one, right? Yeah.
Cool. So what you take out is, at first it looks almost dull compared to some of the others. I mean, some of these are like fully gold embellished on opal, and like glowing pink. Like some of these are real kind of showstoppers. Others are sort of fully illuminated manuscripts, like medieval manuscript level of like painted letters and like glittering. And what you take is, it looks like a page. It looks like a kind of dull, sort of cloudy white kind of color. And you realize when you touch it that it is a leaf of quartz, so thin, so fine, that it bends like paper. And at first you
not
draw it
paper?
out. No. And at first you draw it out and it looks blank. It looks like a blank piece of paper. You did it. You picked the only one in here that wasn't a map. But then when you move your hand, like quicksilver, like mercury, silver pours down the page like water running down a rock face. And that silver seems to appear from nowhere, and it trails across the map, picking a path like invisible ink, and showing you a map to something or somewhere next to writing that you cannot read. And the shopkeeper smiles at you, and she says, "That one is 77 silver."
I'll take it.
It's a pleasure doing business with you. And she holds out her hand, and as she does, you notice that she has a silver ring on her wedding finger.
Ooh, okay.
Take it. Damn.
Damn.
Nobody wins!
Right. Okay. I'm just calculating my monies. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just I'll turn up. It's like,
gambling money. I just realized.
oh no, I spent most of it on the halfling on the new plating.
Which is
Uh,
just as well, because honestly, if you hadn't done that, you'd have taken a lot more damage from that cannon.
Yeah.
So okay,
Yeah.
we will do the admin of the money in a moment, but we know it was 77 silver that you spent to get this piece of map. And we're coming up to our break now in about 15 minutes time. At which point we'll take a sort of 5-10 minute break whilst we all get some water, take meds, do all the things we need to do. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. I'm just going to tell you whilst I remember, because I completely forgot last time. You can win a copy of this game if you like it by putting something in the chat. I'm not sure what, but yeah. Yes.
People get to enter once a stream or just once ever?
That seems like a question for the mods in the chat, because I don't know.
Oh, exclamation point, Upriver.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Belle Crane in the book.
Yes, there is a
Yeah.
picture of Belle Crane in the book, and she is so pretty there. There is also a pin-up of Julie Diamantis, the Minnow, the pirate queen. She's under the captain.
Oh, that's her. Oh, oh no! She's so pretty.
Oh.
You too can see that picture if you buy this book. But you will acquire this piece of the map. Now, Faye, you know that the pirate you spoke to who fired upon you said that Julie wanted to speak to you. You also have this invisible person you saw who seemed to be moving away from you. And you're currently under the curse of strength, but I'm not actually sure that Faye even knows that. I think Faye knows that something feels weird and strange to her, but I'm not sure that she actually knows exactly what's going on. Can I assume that you all leave the shop?
Yeah.
So you leave the shop and you get out onto that little balcony I mentioned before, the one that looks over the gardens and the arena, the fight. Everyone still seems to be having fun. I would like all three of you, please, to roll me d12 plus your spirits.
Okay, so that's
19.
gonna be.
Wait, did you get a 19?
I got 19.
Did
Wow.
you roll a 12
Wow.
plus your 7 spirits?
Well,
Wow!
I got
Good lord.
I got a 13.
Cool.
I got a 14.
I want to be honest with you both. It doesn't matter. Like, Shay got a 19.
19. A 19.
Exactly. After hearing the 19, it's like, oh, I got a 14 now.
So I will actually give you 2 pieces of information for that, Aldred. The first one is, so this is a pretty, like, it's a raft city, right? And it's a pretty big space. This big garden in the center, and then various buildings kind of around it. There's more buildings going to the east or like north if we were facing this straight on, that kind of like constitute the pirate city itself. But like, you notice, be like 500, 600 feet away, 700 feet actually, exactly. This shimmer in the air, this moment where the light of the lanterns, these hanging paper red and pink and orange and yellow lanterns, seems to smudge like grease, like butter in a pan. And you notice someone becoming visible. And there's something else you notice about this person too. So the person who becomes visible, human. Just regular human woman. She has red hair. She seems to be wearing pretty nondescript clothes, like a shirt, some trousers, boots. She's got a sword, fine. Pirate, right? Except you notice, Aldred, something that no one else notices. You recently encountered the human Imperial army in a pretty bad way, in a very violent way. And you notice that the stitching of those trousers, there's something about this specific cut, this pattern, this material, that human woman who just appeared in the middle of the pirate city is certainly an officer of the human Imperial Navy. What do you do with that information?
Well, okay, question. Didn't I already know that there are human Imperial soldiers here sometimes?
You know that there are human Imperial soldiers in the glass, not in the pirate city. The pirate city is kind of famously a very illegal place, and Imperial naval officers do not sneak in here for good reasons. This is kind of like if you were in the real world in the Caribbean and like the British Navy managed to get inside a pirate stronghold. This would be a strange thing to see and would probably precede some massive violence.
I think I should probably say what I do after the break, if we're gonna take that into
Well, I will tell you that something. I love this. I love that, and I really want to lean into it. But I just want you to know,
Yes.
and you know what? Actually, we'll say that these things are happening simultaneously, and then we can decide the order that we resolve them in. Xania and Amber, you're 13 and 14. You look in the opposite direction. If Aldred, as you walk out, wait for it.
I'm sorry.
If you walk out and if Aldred walks out and looks east from where you are, north from the river's perspective, you both look west, south. You look downriver. And you notice, cut against the dark, a silhouette moving. A ship, a big ship, approaching in the dark. And you notice the movement of guns being turned and pointed at the pirate city. And you notice lights being lit on that ship. A massive human Imperial naval ship getting ready to open fire on the floating gardens. And in front of you, Julie's having fun, sparring with the various pirates. The pirates are having fun, yelling and betting. No one's really paying attention right now to the cannons. You have both noticed something before anyone else has. There's that one officer over there who seems to have come here first. And then there's another big ship that is about to open fire. And as you both notice that, I'm going to give you, because you both did get a very difficult success, or one of you did, one of you got 14, one of you got 13. Because you got a very difficult success, you can do one thing before what I do next. Do you do anything with this information when you see this ship?
So, how far away is the crowd of people?
Oh, maybe like 20 feet.
Is there any way we can, like, is there like an alarm system, like, just like...
Not that you know of. It's
Not that
a
we know
pirate
of.
city.
Can we yell to the queen?
I was gonna say, yeah. Can we?
I mean,
can
you
we?
can shout.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say. I think the only thing we really can do is yell at, try to get the queen's attention.
Mhm.
I think, right? So here's what I think we should do, right? Queen wants to see Faye Half Moon, right? I think now is the time to do a big Faye Half Moon entrance, right?
Arms raised, cannons. Going.
Yeah, right. Like, I think we could do something big to get the queen's attention, because I think if we just yell, it's gonna get drowned out. I think we need to do something.
Are we talking right now in our characters? Or is
No.
I think this is out of character. I think we're actually in bullet time right now. Like, these are like seconds, and in those seconds, Aldred is deciding what she is going to do about this person she's noticed coming out of invisibility, and in those seconds, Faye and Tarai are deciding what they are going to do about this ship approaching. And like I said, you all get to do one thing in these handful of seconds before the next thing happens in the world, which I will tell you.
Sorry, hang on. I know we're rushing. I'll give me 2 seconds. Is it too late to use I know this place?
No, it's not. You can
Okay,
use that.
I'm gonna use I know this place. Right.
So this is Tarai's ability as an elf, as someone of the elf origin. Elves live a lot longer than the other peoples of the river.
Okay, whenever you arrive at a new settlement, you may choose to have been there before and may create an NPC you know or location you have heard about, right? So I'm going if this is going too far, please do tell me, obviously. But can I invent an alarm system?
Yeah, you know what?
Okay.
Yeah, you can. I love that use of that ability.
Amazing. I'm gonna say that there is a series of warning cannons that make a sound when you fire them. Actually, no. Let's go the other way. It's a foghorn system, right? It's a foghorn system, and basically, there is one either
there'd be one on Bell's shop for reasons that I know, but there would absolutely be one on Bell's shop.
Basically, see the foghorn.
Okay.
Hit the foghorn. Hit that foghorn real hard. Use the foghorn to sound the alarm.
So you got the alarm. I got the queen.
I mean, if you still want to do, if you still want to get help, yes, we absolutely can do that.
Each of you gets a thing to do in these seconds. So if Tarai hits the foghorn, what does Faye do?
You said I do know the queen, right?
She's aware of your existence for sure.
Okay.
Damning.
No, I mean, do I at least know her name or anything?
Yeah, you probably do. Her name is Julie Diamantis, and also known as the Minnow. But Julie to her friends.
Julie.
Her.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Would she be respectful
lady.
and yell her thing or
So what'd you do?
Definitely seeing he's going for the alarm, or that they're going for the alarm. She's gonna run to the crowd and scream out her name. So just be like, shut up!
Alright, so Julie stops, and when I'm not even going to make you roll for this, because I think that Faye has pretty good tongues and generally pretty good charisma and insight into people.
Mhm.
When Julie notices someone screaming, shouting for help, specifically from Belle Crane's shop, she doesn't at first notice the fact that this means that things are under attack. All the blood runs from her face as she starts moving towards the shop, as if she is very concerned about something or someone inside that shop. But then Tarai hits the foghorn and she turns and looks around, and finally she sees the ship. Now, Shahik, I'm gonna do one last thing before we get into the break, but it is up to you whether you would like to do what you do now, or if you want to wait until after the break and we can resolve it. We can kind of skip back in time and resolve it and kind of sync ourselves back up again.
No, I'll do what I do now, which is I'm gonna run towards the person I see, and as I'm running, I'll open the vial of sleep poison that I've got, but I'll keep my finger on it, obviously. And I'll just run like Liz just in case. And I think I'm gonna bank on them being a little distracted by the foghorn that just started blasting 0.2 seconds ago, and maybe somebody yelling Julie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna try to make them sniff.
Cool. Okay. Give me a swords roll, please. This is a dexterity roll, and actually, do you have the dexterity knack? So
I can't help. I'm sorry, I do. I can't help you. I think. I don't think.
No, I don't think in this moment. So you roll at disadvantage. So you roll a d12.
Wait. Does this count as a group emergency?
Does this count as a group emergency?
Oh, so well, yes, but okay. Question. Okay, so my scar. It was specifically about how if a lot of people need Aldred's help at the same time. You simplified it a little bit more. Do we go with the simplified version of group emergency or the more specific one of what I said?
We are going to resolve both yours and Faye's scars after the break when things really start happening. The crowd
no.
has not yet begun to panic. The crowd has not yet begun to fight. But whether that will turn into a mob or lots of injured people who need help, we will resolve after the break. For now, we are not yet kicking into your scar. However, because there is a relevant knack here and you don't have it, you do still have to roll at disadvantage because you don't have dexterity.
Okay. That's an 11 for the first one, and then 10.
A 10 total?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, there's this weird moment where she turns and it seems like it's almost like you see a mirage, like she's just suddenly like a foot further away than she was before, like the wooden deck seems to extend as if you're in a dream, like there's just something about, you can't tell if it's a trick of the light, you know, there's these dancing lanterns, it's the middle of the night, there's a lot of alcohol and steam and smoke in the air, but you could have sworn she was a foot closer to you than she was, but either way, what happens is you go to use the vial and you drop the vial, it smashes, and the poison that you've made just soaks into the wood. She sees you and just runs. She books it into the city. And where we will end before our break.
Oh my god.
This huge human Imperial ship. It has a name on the side. That name is painted very beautifully. It's called the Treasure. And someone steps up to the bow of the ship, right at the very front. This person is a tall man wearing a sharp uniform. And he picks up some kind of device, which, if any of you have spent a lot of time in the Human Empire, you'll know that they've recently been experimenting a lot with various kinds of inventions. I mean, stuff like the foghorn. But he speaks through it, and this like tinny, grainy, crackly sound echoes incredibly loudly across the whole of the floating gardens and all across the river into the dark, into the cold, into that infinite darkness on either side of the gardens. And this man says, "Attention, pirates! My name is Captain Nathaniel Chanticleer, and I will be the first man to find the source of the river and return. I have heard that you have maps to that place here, and so I have decided, in the name of the great Crown Nereus and his child Crown Laume, that I will finally scourge you from our waters. Fire!" And as he says that, all of the cannons on the ship, 8 cannons, open fire on the floating gardens. And where we end is in the frozen moment as those cannonballs hit. People are sent flying. People die pretty immediately. There is fire everywhere. Wood breaks. Structures fall. Various bits of the floating garden start falling into the river. The rafts themselves start pulling apart. More fires start to happen from the various vendors. Julie looks furious and just turns and sprints towards the water. Not sure what the plan is. Belle appears outside of her shop beside you all. She strikes with her hand, and as she does, this sudden unnatural just shadow sweeps over the entire floating gardens. Absolute chaos emerges, and in the darkness there are only fireworks of light and pops of sound and color as various guns begin to go off, swords cut swords, and you hear the sound of the Imperial landing party. And that is where we will take our break. This is going to be about
It's kicking off.
This break is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes. We run ad breaks, which keep pre-roll ads off the air for the final hour of the game. Like I said before, please remember to hydrate, take your meds if you need to, and please subscribe to both the Girls Run These Worlds Twitch and YouTube channel, where you can watch episodes back. So if you missed the first episode of this, you can watch it back on YouTube. Plus, we are giving away a PDF of Upriver Downriver. If you want to enter that giveaway, it's in the chat. We will see you all in a moment. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you've had fun.
Yeah. See you in a bit.
Everybody.
welcome back to our stream of Upriver Downriver on Girls Run These Worlds. We are halfway through our session, so I'm gonna just take us right back into the action. Where we were at is that we are on the Floating Gardens, which is a floating pirate city ruled by the pirate queen, the minnow, Julie Diamantis. And our players have just acquired a piece of the map to the crystal nets. They'd noticed this strange invisible figure who seemed to be like creeping around a little bit. And where we just left off was that it was revealed that that invisible figure was actually a human woman who works for the human Imperial Navy, and a man who calls himself Captain Nathaniel Chanticleer had announced that he, on his ship, the Treasure, was going to be the first man to find the source of the river and take it for the human empire. That he's heard that there are pieces of the maps of the crystal nets here on the Floating Gardens, and that he has taken this as an opportunity to scourge the Floating Gardens from the face of the river in the name of the crown of the human empire, Crown Nereus, and his child, Crown Laume. And then the cannons opened fire. There was massive destruction. Just before that destruction, Tarai, our first mate, managed to set off an alarm system, a series of foghorns, with some clever gaming from Amber, who used their ability to, I know this place as an elf, to kind of install an alarm system on this pirate city, essentially. We had Zania as Faye, shouting out to Julie herself, giving her kind of a split-second advantage. And we had Shahik as Aldred, trying to put this human woman to sleep, but just at the last minute, not quite succeeding, and in the process losing her vial of the sleep potion. So where we pick up?
Okay. Oh, so you
yeah,
you
I will just
yes, sorry. Yes.
Although that was delightful, and I love the enthusiasm.
Where we pick up?
Where we pick up is darkness and fire. Aldred, I will say that what is happening to you right now is you are surrounded by injured people. I am not going to describe this in detail, but certainly there is blood. Some people are missing limbs. People are on the ground. People are screaming. People are groaning. People are shouting for help. There are several people who are unconscious, and all around you, absolutely surrounding you, are people shouting, "Help! Help! Does anyone know a doctor? I need a doctor! Someone! We need a doctor right here, right now!" And Aldred, you have a scar, which means that scars in Upriver Downriver are things that impose a disadvantage to certain roles, because life is hard on the river. Things happen to people, and sometimes they leave marks on us, whether they are visible and physical or psychological. And in Aldred's case, Aldred has a scar for when there are people around her who need her help, especially like medical help. So Aldred, you should be aware of that.
Well, more specifically, if it's like a panic and there's a lot of people calling out for her, that sort of, yeah.
Zania, Faye, you are standing on this little balcony. You've yelled to the Pirate Queen. The human Imperial ship has opened fire. You know what happens when a bunch of pirates decide they're gonna fight someone in an open space? They turn into a mob. A very massive mob of pirates is just spilling from the buildings of the city to the north, to the east of you, and they are waving torches, they are waving random implements. Some of them have staves, some of them have swords, some of them just have kitchen knives, and they are just charging chaotically towards where the human Imperial Navy is attempting to board the Floating Gardens. Your scar is also going to be in effect, because Faye has a scar around angry mobs. Tarai, the Floating Gardens are falling apart. The first thing that happens is that one of the cannon shots hit the wood like about 12 feet from you, but what happened was it started splitting like the shop that Belle has in this balcony away, and now directly in front of you is just a steep, maybe 12-foot drop off into pitch black deep water, and you are going to have to make a 6-7-foot leap onto the wood to stay on the wood instead of falling into the water.
Okay.
Your scar may or may not be in effect depending on how you get out of this.
Okay.
What are all of you going to do?
Right. So, I'm gonna turn to, if I can see, can I see Half Moon, Captain Faye?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm gonna scream, Half Moon, get her, trust me. And I'm gonna fucking hope that Half Moon trusts me. do you?
What, do I trust you or do I go?
Do what I say? But like I hold, if you look
When
at
you
me,
say-
I like hold your gaze and like just try to mind fucking read or like transfer my thoughts as like fucking trust me.
Well, if I may, because I know you're trying to talk to Alex. If I may.
No. I just wanted clarification to make sure that everyone knew what was going on. If you all know what's going on, that's fine. Go for it.
Okay. I think what you see, because you're trying to make eye contact, she's honed in on specifically the mob.
Okay.
And you see she's just rigid. And it even takes her a minute to like process, to even like look at you, and she's like, what?
Okay, so Tarai is gonna basically turn to Faye and just be like, okay, Faye, look at me. Look at me.
What?
Look at me. Look at my eyes. Look at me. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this. Wherever you go, I'm gonna go with you, okay? And you're gonna be okay.
Okay. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
We're gonna be okay.
Fine. It's gonna be fine. It's going to be fine.
It's going to be absolutely fine. We got this.
Aldred, all around you, people are still shouting, like, help, medic! She's gonna die, please, help! Someone help me, please!
Okay, I'm gonna go up to the first person that is about to die, from how much I can tell, or whoever's yelling about it. I'm gonna go up to them, and as I sort of take out my tools from my backpack, I am still gonna yell again at Half Moon. Just if I have your attention fully now.
Yeah.
Human imperialist, please!
Right.
And if she's still even in our eyesight, I'm gonna, yeah.
I'm gonna say, Faye, give me a spirits roll. And do it at disadvantage.
Spirits is the worst.
Right.
That was actually a 12, which sucks. And that makes it 11, so that's 13, 14?
14. That's a very difficult success. Yeah, you can spot like this. The nice thing about this woman is that she has bright red hair, and that sticks out a little bit, like in the crowd. And so you notice this woman with the red hair kind of disappearing into the crowd. The person that Aldred is pointing at.
Get her! And I start minor surgerying this person.
Okay. I want you to give me a roll, but it's at disadvantage, Aldred.
Okay, so I have first aid. Can I run over and help?
You will need to jump off this balcony over the water first.
Okay, well, I'll deal with that later. One thing at a time. Right, okay.
What did you get?
I got a 12 and a 1.
Okay, so here's what happens.
Oh no!
Wait, I do have a +7. That
Yeah,
makes it an
that's
8
an
on the
8.
1.
Yep. So what happens is, Aldred, this person, you can't see the details of the injury. You can see they're bleeding very heavily. You can see that this is a mortal wound. You can see that they look young, definitely not a child, definitely like 20-ish, but you know, also not someone who's lived a long life. And you notice that there's kind of like a little bit of softness to their cheeks, a little bit of softness to their jaw. The person next to them is just weeping openly, and they've got soot on their face, and they are just leaning across you and saying, please, you have to, I actually can't live without her, I can't do it, I can't. And as this person yells at you,
That I can, if at first level of success I heal 2 harm. Is that still?
it is not enough in this case.
Fuck!
This person yells at you, and you are somewhere else, and something else is happening, and you can taste smoke, the smoke of human imperial gunpowder and their guns and their cannons, and you can't tell if this is from before or from right now or both. It's filling your mouth and your nose and choking your lungs, and you feel this person underneath you as you're trying to stop the bleeding just get cold and stiff, and their body is no longer soft, and the person above them notices it too, and they just make this keening, terrible sound. And I would say it's like nothing you've ever heard, except that Aldred, you have heard that sound quite often. You know exactly what it sounds like. And they just bend over and press their face into the person's shirt, and you,
I'm just like, as I was like trying to wrap the wound, and then I just like start smashing into their chest, and I'm just like screaming like, not again, please. But do I need to roll for containing myself and moving on to the next hurt person, or can I do that?
that is entirely up to you. As a player, it's your agency. I'm not gonna make this depend on a roll. I'm gonna say it is your choice. Shahik, do you think that Aldred is able to contain herself, or like, do you think that the way that she copes in this moment is that she goes from person to person, or do you think that she falls apart?
I think I am not being biased for the game, but I think she will for a second just be like, fuck, please, but then look up and hear and see old blood and hurt people and just go like, not again, and run to fucking closest person, most hurt person, whoever the fuck, and just continue doing that. And I think the emotions are gonna get to her, and she is also gonna scream at Tarai, who is trying to help, to just be like, do something, please.
I'm gonna say that this moment where you are caught between being immobilized by and immersed in and drowned in the feelings of the past and the helplessness and rage and sorrow of the past, and you have the option to let it go and keep moving, or stay there and swim in it, and you choose to let it go and keep moving, you wholly embody the path of death which you follow, which is all about feeling and experiencing great pain and then moving forward. It is not about ignoring that pain, it is not about pretending that that pain didn't happen, but it is about knowing when to not let it stop you, knowing when to not stay in that cloud, knowing when you need to leave it. And when Aldred leaves, she feels this warm, reassuring, familial kind of hand on her shoulder, as if there is someone walking beside her, like a friend or a family member. And she feels some strange strength rising up in her. And I am going to say that the River God itself is going to give you advantage for the rest of these rolls, which will take them back out to a straight roll as death itself decides to help you.
Well, fuck. Thank you, Death.
Okay, Tarai.
Yes.
Massive pool of dark water in front of you
Oh, good.
that you have to jump over. What you doing?
So, right. Captain is on the same sides? Is that
Captain
correct?
is with you. Yeah, you're up on the balcony. Aldred got down before, like, this kind of pulled apart. Like, it was kind of a process
Right.
of destruction.
Okay.
Aldred kind of ran off after that human Imperial officer, but you guys, well, you set off the foghorn, and Faye yelled out to Julie, so you guys both were still up on the balcony when, like, the splintering happened, which is
Right.
why you're now in this situation.
Right. So, I think Tarai is going to get very quiet and is just going to turn to Faye and go, that's a really big drop. That's a really big... We're going to have to jump that, aren't we?
I'm afraid so.
Okay, just think of it as a bet. Just think of it as a bet. It is a massive, big bet with the greatest odds. It is... We're
Listen.
really good at betting. We are the best at betting, okay?
We are really good at betting.
Yeah.
I will get you. No matter what, I will always come for you. Understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And no one bets better than you.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
Right. Okay. Are we jumping together or are we going one at a time?
Well, I gotta go after the Imperialist, but if you want to go together, I'll go with you. I'll jump.
Right. Okay. So are we going?
No. I mean, like
Sure.
either way, you're gonna have to jump across the water. Like balcony here, water in a big
okay.
semicircle.
Oh,
all
good.
around you. So
Right.
to get down, to get to Aldred, to get to the Imperialist, to get to the crowd, and if you want to get away from the shop, you are gonna have to jump. So both of you have to jump.
Right.
And I believe you're actually both going in the same direction because Amber, you said that Tarai wanted to help Aldred with the first aid, possibly.
I think at this point it's get your people together first.
Yeah.
Is the yeah.
So you're both going in the same direction. Both of you
Right.
are going to have to jump this kind of 7-foot gap, 12-foot drop into seething dark water.
This is the
that is very deep.
This is the fall's gonna kill you moment, isn't it? Like it's the
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
How do I help you?
that's another rogue pairing we've got for this one. Where's Belle during all this? Is Belle just gone off?
Belle, so when the attack happened, Belle drew down her arm and this impossible darkness fell over the floating gardens. Where before they were this riot of light and color, it's almost like someone's drawn a cloak of shadow over the whole of this city. And that is giving the pirates something of an advantage. They are no longer like a big glowing target on the river. Like there is like darkness around you. It is making things like medicine harder to do. And no one really knows what's happening. It's very chaotic. But as soon as Belle did that like sweeping down of darkness, she disappeared in what, like out of the corner of your eye, was quite a remarkable kind of trick of light where, when the moon kind of phases from full to gibbous to like smaller like crescent, she, like her body, like as she turned, she just like drifted until she was only a crescent and then disappeared. And you don't know where she is.
Okay. Right. Okay. Cool. So I guess we're doing a big ol' jump. Okay. Cool. So I have dexterity.
Yep.
Can I use that to cancel out the disadvantage? Or is that just? How does that work? I also have climbing. That's probably not helpful, but I just want to put it on the table.
Well, you do drop.
Yeah, you
maybe.
could. Yeah, for sure. Like the climbing will be useful. I will say I try as much as possible to enable my players. However, I think in this case it would be a little against the spirit of the scar. Just because you are normally good at this doesn't mean that you're good at it now.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
So it's just yeah, absolutely. So it's a
Straight up a
disadvantage.
roll at disadvantage and your swords.
So what? So we're jumping and adding swords, or are we all just?
You are rolling d12 and adding your swords to see if you can successfully make the jump.
I am wearing the pendant we won.
Ooh,
Yes, you
nice.
are.
Okay. That does give you advantage on strength checks, not sword checks. And
Right.
this isn't
Okay.
a
I did
strength
wonder
check.
about that. Okay.
Good-
Right. Fair
good-
enough.
good
I
to know.
wonder.
Do I have disadvantage too, or is it just Turai? For the
You also have disadvantage because of the big mob.
right.
Oh no! Right.
Let's go
okay,
big swords. Let's go big
let's
swords.
Big swords.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, that's fine. Okay, that's an 8, so that's 12 overall. So I'm gonna do another one. That was 2 8s, so that's 12 either way.
Okay.
So.
Oh no.
No.
You've got your
This is
placement
good.
thingies.
This is me forgetting how to math.
Okay.
Tell us the numbers.
9 plus 9. It's 18, right?
18, yeah.
Yes.
18.
Yeah. So that's real good. That's a
Oh.
legendary success.
Oh.
So what I will say is, like Shahi pointed out, Amber, you do have your substitute. You still have a 12
Yes.
to substitute if you want to use it. But what I will also say is that in this moment, with a legendary success, a big old legendary success, and that was on disadvantage. Good lord. What I will say is that Tarai's roll would have failed. But Faye, your success is good enough that you can catch or help them if you would like to.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she launches off with them. Definitely sees that moment when you just start dipping too fast. And I think she just kind of hooks them on the arm and drags them the rest of the way.
And Tarai, you have this moment as you fall where your feet dip into the water. And it's a sudden shock of cold, even through your shoes. Like it seeps into the seams. It's such cold water that you could actually feel your toes aching, like the bones in your feet ache with the cold. And then you just fall onto your knees, gracefully, clumsily. It doesn't look great, but you are on solid for now, would. And Faye, you are now significantly closer to the mob. And it's something about the sound, the smell. People are screaming, people are shouting, people are roaring, people are swearing. There are breaking things. You can hear the squelch of people getting stabbed. There is blood in the air, and you can taste the copper of it. And the salt. The water is kicking up everywhere. There's kind of this almost like ocean waves as like the various kind of rocking of the wood. There's more cannon blasts coming in, and at this point all of your ears are ringing with just boom, boom, boom. And the floating gardens are falling apart. Flowers are drifting into the water, dead and falling apart like bodies. Petals like strewn like blood through the darkness. What you doing?
I'm getting up, I think. I'm just taking basically everything else is just like, okay, I need to just slowly getting up and kind of a bit winded and kind of ears ringing for the time being, just because that was scary and hairy, and they're gonna take a moment just to like try and get themselves back together as much as they can. But then I think after they've done that, they'll instantly go to Faye and just be like, right, okay, we need to go towards Aldred. Like,
you get her. I gotta get the other one. I have to.
Okay, are you sure?
Go. Just go.
Aldred.
Run.
Sorry, I'm not there. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I'm going towards your person.
No, I was yelling. Try. Well, not really, because I'm not there.
All right, so I'm running towards Aldred's. Faye's running
Do whatever you want,
towards
I'm not there. Yes.
this. All right, so you're gone. Okay, that's fine. So I'm just.
Oh
running
no!
away.
Shahik means that Shahik is not there and Aldred is not in your conversation, and Shahik is trying to be respectful of the fact that you guys can do whatever you want.
Okay,
Like,
right.
You know, like a meta bird.
She is
like
being nice. Yeah, she is just being a friendly, supportive player. What is happening in the moment is that Faye and Tarai have this conversation where Faye says that she's got to go after the person that Aldred told her to chase, the human imperial officer with the red hair. And it's up to Tarai whether Tarai goes to help Aldred, who is kind of helping people, like trying to like do a bit of triage and crisis management, or if Tarai follows Faye after this human imperial officer. Something else.
Faye, am I being ordered to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm going towards Aldred.
Okay. Alrighty. What I'm gonna say is, Aldred and Tarai, I'm actually not gonna make you roll for this because Aldred, death is with you. You are able to save as many people as can be saved. You actually save quite a lot of people. You stabilize a lot of people. Not everyone. Sometimes they just have to die because sometimes death comes to us, and it isn't always when we want it. But you do save a lot of people. And when Tarai turns up, you save even more. It's really lucky how many people you get to just in time. Just, if you'd been a second later, that would have been such bad luck. But as it is, when Tarai is at your side, you always, sort of just by chance, find the right person. Faye, you're chasing this woman into the dark. Now, kind of one half of the floating gardens is this big kind of park area, and one half is a bunch of buildings. It's not huge. It's not as big as Zagazni, which is the city downriver on the glass. But it's kind of small town sized. And there are various kind of tiers, like 3-4-story rickety buildings made of wood, like stacked up crates, with various kind of staircases going up them. This turns into a bit of a labyrinth. Especially in the dark, especially in the unnatural dark that Belcrane has brought over the gardens. But for now, you can see this woman. What I would like you to do, please, is first of all give me a spirits roll.
Still disadvantage, or we're away from?
Oh wait, actually, hang on. Do a swords roll first, and then we'll do a spirits roll. Your swords roll is going to be a disadvantage, but that'll be the last disadvantage as you move away from the mob. Because yes, the mob have moved to join with the Imperial officers, and this part of the city is pretty empty.
And that was swords?
Yep.
Okay, so I swear I could do math. I got a calculator here. Hold on.
It's okay.
is 16.
16. Okay, great. Yeah, that legendary success. You were
Because
able
we
to
love
keep up.
swords.
So you keep up. You get into the darker part of the city. It's cold here. There are no lanterns. The sound of the fighting is behind you and is a distant roar. The guns are still going, the cannons are still going. You still hear the snapping of the wood like falling trees or breaking bones. You feel the shaking of the rafts even here. The buildings are teetering around you as if in the middle of a hurricane. But for now, this part of the city is almost peaceful, eerily quiet. I would like you to give me a spirits roll.
My spirits comes up to... That's 11.
11. All right.
Oh, no.
You run into the dark. Your feet pound on the wood.
Oh
The city
no.
moves underneath you. And then, out of nowhere, suddenly you find yourself at a dead end. You've taken the wrong turn somehow. You're in a sort of closed-off alley. And before you're able to turn around, you feel the barrel of a gun press against the back of your head. And you hear a woman say, "I'm sorry. You don't understand. I have to do this."
Not even gonna let me take a peek? Hmm? Come on now.
This woman says, "I'm sorry" again. And shoots you. That is 28. What is your health?
17.
No. What is your armor?
I forgot which one's my armor. Heavy armor.
Physical defense.
Yeah, so it's a 2. Let's be real. With a 28, with a gun to the back of your head, you're dead. You just died.
Oh my god!
You are shot in the head. As your body falls to the ground, there is a moment where your ghost leaves your body. And for just a second, in the dark, in these streets, by yourself, separate from everyone else, your ghost takes the form not of an adult Fey Half Moon, but of a little child, watching as this woman seems to change shape, and you see her arms kind of flickering between human-looking skin and then crystal or something else, and she just disappears into the darkness, crying as she runs. And then the city fades. And you find yourself not on the floating gardens, but instead standing on or in a river of infinite depth and infinite darkness full of stars. You are surrounded by ribbons of water that move on as far as time. And a silhouette, a tall, androgynous figure wearing a robe and a mask, stands in front of you and stoops down to look you in the eye. And you will commune with the river. And you draw... Oh my god. Sorry.
I know we were joking, you said we want to die, but hold on a second.
You draw the curse of the sun. As your path abandons you, this figure in front of you has a mask that is as bright and glowing as the sun itself. And it has always been your source of joy and guidance and confidence. And now it bends down, it looks at you. For a moment, you are seen by a god, certainly. And then it just turns and walks away. and you feel a cold settle into your bones that you feel like will never come out, and you are swallowed by darkness, and you lose your path.
I'm shaking up. Oh no.
Elsewhere in the city, Aldred and Tarai, you don't really know what happens in the battle. Something, certainly, because at some point the human Imperial ship leaves. The floating gardens are almost entirely destroyed. Hundreds of people are injured and dead, but less than would have been if it wasn't for you. And as the chaos starts to settle, you can't see Julie anywhere. You can't see Belcrane anywhere. As the chaos starts to settle, you realize that Faye still hasn't come back. There is nothing more you can do here for these people. The pirates are taking care of their own. What do the two of you do?
I think so. If we've reached the stage where we can't do any more, I think Tarai is just gonna basically be like, "We need to go back to the ship, like now." Like,
Where's Faye?
Faye will be coming back to the ship as well. There's nothing more we can do here. We have what they want, right? We have what they want. They are not going to stop until they find it. The best thing we can do right now is be as far away from here as possible.
Ella, I can't tell if my character would not want to just go back to the ship and wait for the captain, or if it's entirely just me knowing that the captain will not be coming back if we don't go after them.
I think that Aldred would know, and I mean, Zania, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think that Aldred would know that it seems likely to me that in the case of an emergency, Faye would tell people to go back to the ship. I feel like that's the most likely circumstance, would be that if you all lost each other, you go back to the ship, because that's where you'll find
Also, captain's not here. I need to listen to the first mate.
Yep.
Oh God, no! Sorry, I just dawned on me.
You okay? Yeah. Yeah. Look at me.
Oh no! Oh,
So,
okay. Yes,
you
sorry.
You get back to the ship. Jove is asleep. Well, not asleep actually. Probably might be unconscious.
No, I
to
like
be
the
honest.
idea that Jove is.
He didn't sleep like this entire episode.
Jove is
I
having
like-
the best sleep of their entire life right
Do you
now.
know what I might say is, if it's okay with you, Shahik, Aldred maybe gave Jove some like pain medication, but it put him to sleep. Maybe, and it's a kind of like drugged sleep where it's slightly heavier than a normal sleep. Is that? I feel like that makes the most sense to me. You get back to the ship. Now, what I should say is that the curse of the sun for Faye is everyone the player's character speaks to, including the rest of their party, is overcome by profound melancholy. The character may resolve the curse by confronting a doubt, fear, or sorrow that they have been concealing from their crewmates or themselves. You get back to the ship. Miraculously, the Prestige is still in one piece. Kind of
my girl.
amazing that it survived this battle, to be honest.
Luckiest damn boat ever.
It's a very lucky boat. It's almost like there's a god of luck looking out for it. For now, at least. You get back to your ship and Faye isn't there.
Okay.
And you wait, and Faye isn't there. Sun rises, Faye isn't there. Gets midday, Faye isn't there. To right, it's never been this long. By some hours, it's never been this long.
I walk out on midday, wherever Tarai is, and I just say like, Well, Captain, what do we do?
I don't think Try's gonna say anything. I think Try's just gonna stand and look out over the city and is just gonna kind of process what Aldred has just said and the implications of it. Is the battle still going on?
The battle is over. The humans retreated. You don't know why or how, but they left.
Okay.
Fuck. The battle was just a distraction, so fuck's sake.
I think Try's gonna stand in silent for quite a long time and isn't gonna say anything. And is just gonna stay looking out. Just kind of with this idea of if I just wait a little bit longer, they're going to appear. They're gonna come back because Faye is the captain, and the captain always comes back.
The sun creeps across the deck. Gets the golden hour. Faye isn't there. In fact, it's not until the sun is completely gone from the world once more, when it is full darkness, and not even the faintest ray of sunlight hits your ship, that Faye Half Moon appears under Half Moon at the helm of her ship. She is pale and ghostly, translucent. You can see through her. But most notably, when both of you look at her, you are overcome by a grief that you cannot name, that is endless and aching. And whether or not you choose to, both of you, on your faces, you feel yourselves start to cry, just looking at her. Faye, you're back on the ship and you can see your crewmates. But you know you are dead, and you feel this sorrow.
Sorry, I'm trying to think.
May I say
I think,
something?
of course.
I think she raises her head and she looks at Turai and she does try and smile, please, and just says, I always come back.
I honestly think that is where we have to end the main portion of our game because it is such a perfect and heartbreaking line. So we will now end the session with the kind of admin of the session, which is there are two things to do. One of them is anyone who wants to commune with the river can choose to do so.
I'll be communing with the river.
Yeah, same.
Can I even commune with the river anymore?
You can commune with the river still. So anyone who wants to commune with the river can choose to do so. And then after that, you will need to navigate to your next location. We are at a penultimate location. Your options of next locations are the Echoing Canyons, which is a human mining settlement up in the canyons. It's like a gold. Here's a gold mine. There is. Wait, why am I trying to remember this when I wrote it down? It's making my life harder for myself. There is the Buried River, which is allegedly somewhere near here, but you don't know how to.
So what was that called? Sorry.
The Buried River.
Buried River.
Which is allegedly somewhere near here, which is an urban myth of an elven city, the place where the elves went to hide after the humans raised the settlements on the Glass Road.
Okay.
There's the Black Caverns, which is the kind of prelude to the Crystal Nets. It's a bunch of lakes in massive dark caves that are in the mountains. Or you can go onto the Glass Road, which is, as you've seen already, it's a very long part of the river. Now, when we started this game, these are communion tokens. They have a little star and a ship's wheel on them, made by Beth Crane. When we started the game, 5 members of our crew.
Thing.
5 members of our crew had 3 communions each with the river. In our first session, 3 members of our crew spent a communion. 1 member of the crew got a communion back through the blessing of the star, which means that now you have this many communions. So I've got Shahik and Amber would both like to commune with the river. Zania, would you like to commune with the river?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I want at least a chance to get like one blessing. Like that's
Okay, can I ask a quick question about
Yes.
destinations? So for the buried river,
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, the ship doesn't have the submergibility.
No. But what I will say is that if you succeed on a navigation roll, I will find a way that plot lets you get there.
Okay.
That it is a level 4 location, so you would need to get 4 4s on your d4s. Black Caverns is level 3, Echoing Canyons is level 2, and the Glass Road is level 1.
Okay. Right. So do we want to talk about where we're going next now, or do we want to do the communion stuff first?
We will do communions first because sometimes communions affect your navigation rolls.
Excellent.
So we've learned a bit about how Aldred and Faye commune with the river. What does it look like when Tarai communes with the river?
So Tarai sits on the bow of the boat. I think I got that right? That's the
Yeah, you did. That's the front.
amazing.
Yeah.
And sits and watches the movement of the river and the movement of the water, feels the movement of the boat, and kind of just watches it and feels it for long enough to feel like they're moving with it. Very, very slowly, and it takes quite a while, and then that's how they commune with the river.
Beautiful. Huh. Tarai draws the blessing of the star.
Yes.
Gives you 1 additional communion with the river at a time of your choosing, including right now if you want to draw again, or at a later point.
Double or nothing, baby.
I'm gonna hold on to that. I think I'm gonna hold on to that.
Okay. Next up, Shahik, Aldred.
Yes. Do my communions have to look like what I described them as the first time I did?
Look however you want.
Okay. Well, I think what I'm gonna do is actually one more thing. Since we sort of stay at the floating gardens for like over a day, will I get a chance to buy some medicine supplies?
Yes.
I know that this does come into what I'm gonna say with the communion too.
Yes. And most of the admin of that we will probably resolve off stream, but yes.
Yes. Just one. Yes. So my communion will probably be the, I suppose, ritual of making medicine, and also going back and checking on the people that I healed on the battlefield, maybe like a day later, because in the moment I kind of probably did a sloppy job, and it would be nice to go back and sort of the process of just like checking on people's legs, etc. And then at the end of the day too, I will still journal, but I think I'm gonna say that the doctoring will be my communion this time.
I love that. You get the blessing of the Empress. The blessing of the Empress is... a moment. One of the reasons I have to check this is because I wrote all the blessings and curses, but then we had to balance them, and a lot of them changed. That I have to check to make sure that I get it right, because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing and then have to correct myself. Okay, the Empress, the blessing of the Empress, yeah, the player's character gains a supernaturally heightened sense of either sight, hearing, taste, touch, or smell. When their ability is relevant, the player lowers the difficulty of a roll by 1 step. So you can have a think about what sense that is as we move on to Faye.
Hearing.
Okay, hearing. Faye, what does it look like when you commune with the river now?
Oh man, ghosts can't even pick up stuff. I can't do the dirt thing.
You can in fact pick up stuff. In fact, now you're a ghost, you're going to get some special ghost abilities according to your level, which I'm going to send you off the stream. But becoming intangible is actually a specific ability you have to take. You can interact with things. The main rule of being a ghost is that you can no longer walk on land, and you cannot actually helm the ship. You cannot do the navigation rolls anymore.
Oh, does that mean we lose the
actually
river-
hurts. Huh?
Does that mean we? Sorry. Does that mean we lose the river sense as well?
You do not lose their river sense because they are still able to like talk to you all and sail other parts of the ship. They just can't helm her.
Okay.
But if everyone on the ship died, then your ship would become a ghost ship because it would drift forever because you'd never actually be able to go anywhere on purpose.
Oh,
It's happened to many ships on this river.
But they're still the captain.
They're still the captain. They just can't
Good,
helm the ship
okay.
anymore. But yeah, Faye, what'd you do?
So, I think it's the same as before. Just kind of, well, not really. I think at this point she's just like kind of run down and is like not even giving the order to kind of clear out. But maybe Turai knows that. Who knows?
I think when it, because I feel like Tarai is kind of familiar with knowing when Faye is going to do a communion. So I think they kind of notice and then go and then kind of just quietly tell everyone to get off the deck for a second. Like,
Yeah. So I think in that case she'll wait and then make that circle again. And the way I imagine the dancing, it's almost like if you're familiar, like flocorico, like you know, with the big skirts and everything, and you know, a lot of twirling. But this time, I think just because of everything, she just kind of closes her eyes and gets into position, and it's more of like a slow dance, if anything.
Okay. Hang on a moment. Let me review. Wait. Oh, there we go. Huh. Okay.
No, what do you mean?
You draw the blessing of judgment. Now, very specific thing worth knowing. And I think I might read out of the book for this because it's super relevant.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and I know it's a big old thing. So you are currently in the Floating Gardens, pirate city, ruled over by the pirate queen Julie Diamantis, also known as the Minnow. The allocation of judgment to the Floating Gardens was a divination made in recent history, in the 7 years since the Minnow constructed her floating palace. The riverfolk believe it is no coincidence that the pirate queen is elven, born of the people who were so violently raised from the riverbank here and forced into hiding. While she claims no master or political allegiance, it has escaped no one's attention that the Minnow only attacks imperial ships. You are in the home and heart of judgment, and you draw the blessing of judgment. And the way that that blessing works is that... Let me also read from the book again because I don't want to misword it.
take your time.
We're all just
I am also drawing it out on purpose. Within the next session, the player's character is given an opportunity to either forgive an old injury or be forgiven for a wrong they have done to another. I think Xania knows what that might mean for Faye. But I think that what it means for now is you do this slow dance. And a figure, an androgynous figure in a cloak with a mask, comes to join you in this dance. What did the mother who ran away look like? Like, what was her figure? How tall was she?
I would say she was around like I would say like 5'8" feels good.
Mhm.
But this beautiful, flowy, dirty blonde hair, like I would say, like wavy, and these blue eyes, very like kind of tannish skin, definitely a lot of freckles and everything. Usually wore this beautiful smile, and she was human.
So, this cloaked figure in a mask, silently on the deck in the night, dances with you as you're a ghost, and you make no disturbance in the dust or wood shavings of your ship because you no longer move the world in that way exactly. And this figure is about 5'8", and behind the mask is this wavy, dirty blonde hair. And on their hands, there are these freckles that creep down their arms. And when the mask like tilts, when you turn, you see a flash of this bright, beautiful smile. And you smell a familiar soap or perfume that you recognize from your very early childhood. And this figure feels so warm. And you feel some kind of resolve, some kind of true north just click inside you. And this figure silently dances with you. Keeps dancing until you don't exactly notice when, but your hands are empty again. And there is no one there.
I think that's the moment when she just stops, and it's not very common, but she just starts to bawl.
And it is like a cloud has passed across the sun. Where would you all like to go next?
So
What were the options again?
So I think the easy option is the Echoing Canyons, because it's a level 2 location. But I think since we've all leveled up, our river sense is a bit higher. So I think we could stretch to the Black Caverns.
What was the location that was the sort of the one step before the nest, the net,
The crystal nets, the Black Caverns.
Yes, I think so too. What level is that one?
Level 3.
Level 3. So
Well,
I need to
we
get
are
what, 3
gonna be
4s
level
with that?
3 next session.
Yeah. So if it's a level 3 location, I need to get 3 4s.
Yeah.
Out of.
I think-
Are we using everyone's river sense or just the
You
players?
are using
Yeah.
everyone who is on the ship, actually. It's a good point. You won't have Seala's river sense.
Okay.
Oh,
So you will have Jove's, but just because
Jove.
Seala isn't here, there's no way that she is
Yeah.
contributing to sailing the ship right now. So you will have Jove's, Faye's, Aldred's, and your own, which makes 2, 4, 6, 9. 9
So 9.
D4s.
So 3 out of 9. That's pretty doable.
come on, you're
I'd
a best
also-
gambler. You're a best
Yeah,
gambler.
but also Buried River is a level 4, so I have to get 4 out of 9.
Mhm.
And the Buried River intrigues me.
Genuinely, I will say I like the idea of the Buried River more, but
Yeah.
if you don't want to risk it for now, I would say go towards the other one. But if you do want to take a chance, then I say Buried River.
Yeah.
What was the Buried River again?
It is the hidden, mythical, urban legend place where the elf and refugees from the Glass Road went when the humans tried to kill them.
I see.
I think narratively that would work for me, but I'm aware that that's a big risk. So,
I think, Shahik, we are only waiting for your opinion.
Right, I didn't. It's gonna take the easy option out, whatever the captain says. Fuck you.
do you have any idea how awful something? That is the worst possible
No.
time to say that.
No, sorry, no.
I
I
genuinely don't want to
am-
start crying again.
No, but
just Tarai being like, "Are you really pulling that card now?"
I didn't. Okay.
Guess somebody's not going to
no,
be the first
but
me.
actually thinking about what Aldred would have done because of a thing I just thought of just now that I won't say just yet. But I think that would be just trying to just go to the source closest.
I mean, like, what I will say is that, like, the Black Caverns is famously the place that you start, but also no one has ever successfully got to the source by going through the Black Caverns. And the
What does
Buried
the map
River.
say?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I think what I will say generally is that the Buried River is allegedly underground, and so are the crystal nets. So you have a pretty strong reason to believe that, like, of the 4 places you could go, Echoing Canyons, Glass Road, Buried River, Black Caverns, the Black Caverns and the Buried River would both get you closer to the source. The Black Caverns is the place that everyone knows about as a way to get to the crystal nets, but also no one has ever got to the crystal nets. So
And we're not allowed to roll and then decide?
you're not
No.
allowed to roll and then decide. No, you
Yeah.
have to pick. You have to nominate your location first.
I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm
Buried
gonna
River.
vote for Buried River. Yeah, Buried River.
Yeah.
Buried
Buried
You
River.
need
River.
4 4s.
So out of 9.
Yep.
Well, I've got 2
Out of
D4s.
9, it's good. We like those odds.
Those are some good odds. Okay,
Come
so
on,
4 out of 9.
come on. It's been a rough day. Let's get like 5 4s. Let's go.
Okay, so the first 2, so no 4s on the first 2. So, hang on. That's none there. So that's 4 down. So
You got 5 left.
got 5 left. Come on, be nice.
Come on, Ture. Come on.
Okay, I got 1 4.
Okay,
3 more rolls.
4 more. No.
That's another 4.
Oh, okay.
And I've got 1 more roll after that, right? That's
Yeah.
8.
So you'd need to get 2 4s on your last roll.
I've
Come
got
on.
1 dice left, so we've
Come
not
on,
made
please,
it.
please,
We've not made it.
please.
That's
Oh,
also
no,
a
okay.
4. So
Ah!
we're
Do you know what? I will let you roll Sealer's River Sense.
okay.
Two more.
2 more. Oh right,
Yeah.
okay.
She's
Thank you,
level
Ella.
2. You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Please, 1 more 4. I'm so stressed.
That's a 4. Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Ella. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you,
Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you.
Alrighty.
It's been a
So
rough
what I will
night.
say
It's
is,
such a rough night.
what I will say is, you want to go to the Buried River. Oh yeah, I know how this works.
Uh-oh.
You want to go to the Buried River. And I should say, by the way, you were previously at this many communions. You are now at this many. Tarai, you have to helm the ship now.
Yep.
Now, this is something you'll have done before. On most ships, people take it in turns to helm because sleep is a thing. People get tired, people stop focusing. You take it in turns, just like you take turns to drive a car. But at the same time, like, the Prestige is push or phase ship and then yours, as much as you want her. How old is Tarai?
I think this is, in human terms, I'd say this is Tarai's first lifetime.
Okay, but I want a sense. Is Tarai elf to human? You know, the whole dog years thing. But like, has Tarai existed on the river longer than Aldred and Faye?
Yes, but not by much, I'd say. Like,
So like 40-ish.
yeah, I'd say 40. So maybe a good 45.
So very young for an elf.
Very.
Okay, so you sail, and as you do, think about the fact that you actually haven't seen a lot of elves here on the Glass Road. Famously, not a whole bunch of them. You think about how one of the only elves you saw was Julie, who is a pirate. You think about the fact that everyone says there was a time when these riverbanks were lined with buildings and villages, and now there are a couple of ruined structures. There are empty buildings. and there's just fields. There's just kind of nothing forever into the distance, into the horizon. It's not until nightfall again that you feel the piece of the map that you got in your pocket. There's some kind of power. And honestly, there isn't a tangible sensation I can compare it to. But you feel it. Like an anchor pulling you down, I guess, would be the closest one. In fact, it's a lot like an anchor. Because the ship starts going down. It starts sinking deeper in the water, as if you are becoming heavier, as if you are becoming impossibly heavy, as if you are becoming as heavy as a neutron star. The ship gets so low that the bow of the ship is actually touching the water, and your ship is shallow hulled, but she's not that shallow hulled.
Worst kind of afraid of water.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Rai's not having a good time.
Not
now. Not
Water
now.
pours
Not now.
over the railings, just crashing in, midnight blue and black like ink.
Rai's just like, I
absolutely
really hope I don't
sweeping
have to make a roll right now.
And you try to let go of the helm, you try to let go of those wooden spokes of the wheel, and you can't. You actually just can't. It is like you are magnetized to the wood. You are held in place. You try to move your feet, you can't. You are held here, and the thing in your pocket is just pulling and pulling and pulling. And there is this sudden wave of silver light, and your ship is submerged. You are sinking into the depths of the river. Your whole ship is swallowed by darkness, and you sink, and you sink, and you sink, until you can't even make out the moonlight on the surface of the water, and you don't know which way is up or down. And that is where we will end our session.
What? Oh man! You always do this.
Thank you all very much for playing. I appreciate you. Now, please, I would love you to all tell us who you are again, where we can find you online. Tell us about some of your projects. Give us some signal boosts. Please make sure to represent yourselves and all of the amazing work you're doing. You deserve it. So we are going to start with Zania.
Hi, I'm Zania. I just died. I'm known as Zanianator online. You could mostly find me on YouTube, but I am actually a D&D story artist, which means I animate my own stories. I mostly do animatics and stuff. My current project is actually titled Shadow Puppet Theater, if you ever want to look that up. And we're in the first 3 episodes right now, but I just finished 3 scripts, so we're gonna get 3 more soon. Very nice. But yeah, you can find me as Zanianator on YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, pretty much everywhere. If you see it, it's probably me.
Hell yeah.
And I had a fun day today. It was very cool.
I'm glad you're having fun. Okay, next up, Amber.
Hello, my name is Amber. I've just eaten some of my hair. Great time to do that. Excellent. My name is Amber. I'm everywhere as Tin Can Audio. I make audio fiction podcasts and I make music. I made the soundtrack to Upriver Downriver. There's a companion soundtrack album that I think you might have been listening to on the stream, which is rather wonderful. I also am here on Twitch as...
Yes, it is been playing for people watching the stream.
I actually play it on Spotify whenever we're playing.
Oh, thank you. Oh, it's so nice. But I'm also here on Twitch every Monday at 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. Eastern, making music and making music from scratch. It's a chill time, and it's kind of like a co-working stream more than anything. I also make a audio fiction podcast called The Tower. It's an experimental audio drama. It's about a young woman who leaves behind her isolated claustrophobic life in this massive city to climb this kind of impossible Tower of Babel structure. It's sort of this blend of audio drama and a music concept album kind of thing. And that's everywhere you get your podcasts and on Bandcamp. Yeah. So what was the bit I forget about? It's a podcast. You can find it anywhere.
But you should get it on Bandcamp. But
You should get it on
support
Bandcamp.
Indie creators.
Yes.
Shaik.
Yeah, hi. I have actually done a lot of stuff online, such as podcast and stuff, but it's all under a pseudonym, so fuck you. You don't get to know what the name of it is. So,
Oh my God.
maybe
I'm not
just
telling you anything.
Listen to every podcast ever, and then you'll recognize my voice, I guess. I am an editor, and I do things like that too, but it's also under a pseudonym, so fuck you. Just watch YouTube, and then maybe you'll watch something that I edited at some point. Okay. Thank you. Oh yeah, and you can follow me on Blue Sky at my name, Sharik.
I mean, there you go.
I do just want to say for the lovely people watching from home or work or wherever you might be, in an airport, on a bus, I don't know your life, I don't know you. We are very grateful for the fact that you're watching. It's just that sometimes we have to silo our identities because the internet and late stage capitalism are weird and hard. Yes, I am Ella Watts. I am a podcast producer, voice director, game designer. I made this game. I would love it if you maybe considered buying this game. You can buy this game from MacGuffin & Company. You can get the PDF or the hardcover, which is this one. I also believe that one of our illustrators, Max Breyer, who did all of our lovely character art, including this steamy picture of Julie, has been watching tonight's stream. So hi, Max. They are also my partner, and I love them, so I wanted to say hi. But I'd love it if you checked out my book. That would be great. Yeah, and you can find me on the internet at GEJ Watts because those are my initials. And it's easier to get than Ella Watts, which is taken pretty much everywhere. Okay, so you've been watching Girls Run These Worlds. I got a bunch of announcements for you because this is an incredible stream community that platforms a lot of incredible people, a lot of incredible women and people of marginalized genders, and just generally diverse voices, and I really recommend it. There is gonna be an actual play stream of a genre and tone that you will enjoy on this channel. I just guarantee it. They put out so much stuff. So on Thursdays, we've got Alien Destroyer of Worlds. This is a stream that's sponsored by Free League. You join Game Mother Fiona and her crack team of colonial marines as she throws them through a gauntlet of one hell after another, is what I've been told to say. What I can also add is that our producer Arnica has also been producing that stream and has let us know that the gang are not having a good time. So
It's really good.
Watch, yeah,
It's really good.
Have you been watching it?
I've watched the first couple of episodes, and I'm just like, oh, it's so good.
I know they've got Sharmony on it, and I'm really excited about that because I love Sharmony as a player. Anyway, it rules. If you like horror, check it out. On Saturday, so tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, join Anne and her studio of dancers as they turn the beat around, which I am deeply intrigued by. I just generally like the idea of using music and dance more in RPGs. I think that sounds really cool.
Wow.
It's good. It should be more.
Yeah, no, genuinely, there should be more. Absolutely. I want rhythm game, but TTRPGs. We can make that work, right? We can make it work. I will also mention that the Girls Run These Worlds creator application is always open. We had a bit of discussion of this off stream as well, which is that if you've got a story to tell, then Girls Run These Worlds will help you get it off the ground. Genuinely, just approach them, contact them. You can visit girlsruntheseworlds.com for more info. If you've got an idea for a one-shot or a campaign like this, really shoot your shot. They do a lot of really cool stuff. I hadn't really done any streaming before I started doing stuff with Girls Run These Worlds, and they've been really helpful and supportive of me being in front of a camera, which is not my natural habitat as a podcaster. Yeah, do check that out. Now we've got 10 minutes left of the stream, which is pretty neat.
Wow.
And what I would like to do possibly is resolve some of our admins, specifically Zania. Now that you're a ghost, you get 2 ghost abilities because you're level 2. You get 1 ghost ability per level.
Ooh,
so I'm going to take you through this. So the way that ghost abilities work is that you have some abilities that if you were to be miraculously or magically resurrected, you could take these with you, and some
Hello.
which have to stay in the realm of the dead. So the regular ghost abilities are ones that once you've learned them, they stay with you wherever you are, whether you're alive or dead. But secrets of the dead are reserved for the dead. So a quick overview of these is your ghost abilities. You can consult the ancestors. You can seek the wisdom of your ancestors and make a tongues roll. Calm water, you can try and calm a storm or like uneasy waters in the river. Possess a beast, you can try to possess an animal. Appear as a lost loved one, so you can choose to, for someone else, appear as one of their lost loved ones. However, this isn't actually being their lost loved one, this is just simulating their appearance. Channel a lost loved one, so that is actually talking to someone's lost loved one and like genuinely getting the real person. Reverse the death of creatures, so you can resurrect an animal or even a supernatural creature. Or grant peace to a restless ghost. If you find a restless ghost somewhere in your travels, you can give them peace and let them stop wandering. Like I said before, if a crew all die in pursuit of their oath to reach the source of the sea, then their ship is cursed to wander forever. And many people on their way to try and find the source fail, and then are stuck forever between the realm of the living and the dead. You can help them if you take that ability. The secrets of the dead, so these are exclusive to Jeff. I'm sorry, I'm still going. It goes.
No, keep going. No, keep going. I'm just like, wow. I was literally just gonna go like, wow, this is cool.
Thanks. I love death.
I do too.
That's great. Death is important, and grief is important, and we should all be more comfortable talking about both. So secrets of the dead, so these are exclusive to being dead. You can become intangible, so you can pass through solid objects. Become invulnerable. So as a ghost, you are now immune to physical attacks, but you are vulnerable to magic. And if you are completely destroyed by magic, your ghost disappears and you die permanently. Your character disappears. That's it. They are obliterated from existence. So you can become invulnerable, and that means that you are also briefly immune to magical damage. Listen to the river. So you can basically, when communing with the river, you can do a roll, and if you get a difficult success, you can choose to return your blessing or curse and choose another. So basically, you get a redraw. Fly. You can fly as high as you want to. You're no longer constrained by a mortal body. Cause death. So on a very difficult roll, your touch instantly kills. Curse to wander. Do you know the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner? Basically, that's what this is. So on a very difficult roll, you can curse someone to wander forever through their life and through eternity and death, and they will never stop wandering. And the spell...
Like, uh-oh.
And finally, Dispel Storm, which means that if a tempest falls on you, even one caused by the river, you can get rid of it on a very difficult success. So you get 2 of those. Do you have any thoughts about any that you're particularly interested in? Oh, that's a big...
I'm like, ooh, there's a lot of good choices. For sure, granting peace, like, I want that really bad. I think that'd be very interesting. Listen, the sun may have abandoned me, but like, I don't need to abandon people.
I love that.
Also, I miss the sun. I want it back. Maybe I'm sorry. So it's you pick from the ghost abilities and then you pick from the secrets, or how,
well, you can mix them up as you like. So the only thing to know is that you only get 2, and that if you pick Secrets of the Dead, they don't come back with you into life if you are resurrected somehow. So you can pick whichever way you want. You can take 2 Secrets of the Dead, or 2 ghost abilities, or 1 of each. It's up to you.
Ooh, okay, then hold on. For sure, we're locking down granting peace. So I'm even gonna write that down real quick. Grant peace, and then I'll draw a little ghost right here. Little smiley face. I don't know if you can see that, but like right there, just like a little ghost. Let's see. So we will grant peace, and then I have the PDF right here. So, because the invulnerable thing, now I am fearing death, and that sucks. But listening, flying is cool. I like Curse to Wander, but I know that's not in character, so I can't do that. I could be a little vengeful as a treat, but not today.
I was gonna say if I was a ghost, I'd be pissed off.
I mean, I am technically pissed that I got shot in the head and couldn't even see the face.
Yeah, that's infuriating. That's oh.
Do you think I should get it then? Because I'm like,
I mean,
I don't know.
If I
You
could, I
lost
think-
your path. What do you have?
Yeah, you've
Like-
lost your path, and you are like when you kind of unlock these secrets in the narrative. These are the secrets of death that like call to and respond to and click with Faye, like when she dies. How do
Yeah.
you think she was feeling when she died and in the hours after she died?
If I could like cut in very briefly, right? Shooting someone in the back of the head, that's dishonorable. Like
That's
if anything
hardcore
else,
dishonorable.
right? That's like the most dishonorable thing you can do is shoot someone in the back. So
And she didn't think they'd actually do it either.
yeah, like had a chance to turn around as
Yeah.
well. Like was offered the chance of you can do this the right way, and didn't. So I don't know. I think if I were in that situation, and I think Faye would also be incensed at that. That's just dishonorable and sneaky and bad, and I'd be very cross. So yeah, I think you can make a justification for taking that nap,
Rightfully
that
pissed.
ghost power.
Yeah.
I think that's a good enough justification then.
Okay, so you take grant peace to a restless ghost and curse to wander.
Which I
Yep.
feel like are
Cool.
opposites, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's polar opposites where it's like, hey,
Holding the
I
thumb.
still want to help them out, but if I ever find you,
Ah.
it's like, ooh, give me the chance to find you just right now.
Last bit of admin to resolve before we finish our stream is Shahik, you bought some ingredients for your medicine. I would like you to
Yeah.
roll me 2d12s and tell me what you get.
Okay. 2d12. Am I adding spirits?
Nope.
This is 7 and a 2.
Then you spend 90 silver.
I don't have 90 silver.
I can
You
spot. I
need
can
some
spot you.
silver from
I
someone
can
else.
spot you. It's fine. I
For
got you.
$1.
Where's Joe when you
They're
need
rare
him?
ingredients.
What?
This is your
What?
roll.
How much do you need?
Oh, I've got 81.
You need 90. Did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can give you the 10. I'm good. I'm good.
And then I'm broke. Great.
Look, it's
You
fine.
did leave her. I do, if I recall correctly, like kind of a core thing with your character was I leave and I don't want anything anymore. I do think that Aldred didn't entirely think this through. Like, I think there's a chance that she was
She's
just
like,
like,
I'm gone. I'm gone.
yeah. I don't think this was a case of like lots of savings and I've really planned for this and I've thought about my gap year. Like, I think this was a bit.
I've got a wrinkle 20 in my pocket. Let's go.
Right,
Yeah.
Mom.
I love the idea that Tarai now has to do like sign off on expenses.
Oh, I hate that.
That's gotta be so stressful because I know Faye in character would have been like, it's fine. Like, yeah, I got it. Like,
opportunity
we
to-
got it. We don't gotta worry about this. We'll get it back. Tarai knows how to gamble.
Is there any opportunity to earn back a bit of money, like in the one day we were at the floating gardens?
Who knows? We will find out next time because it is now the end of our stream. So thank you everyone for watching. We appreciate you. We hope you've had a good time. I've had a good time. Take care. Come watch us next week. Thank you very much.
Sending love.
Bye. See you later.
Bye. Goodbye. I'm gonna keep waving until I know where it is.